and welcome to the DC. Shall we do a roll for recap?
Ready to roll.
I'm looking for the number closest to
Pull out my dice.
8, please.
6.
Okay, maybe it's going to be Cass.
15.
18, not Bluey.
5.
5.
Cass
Oh, Cass Cap.
Okay, I got something on my teeth, so give me 5 seconds.
This is the part where we stall for 5 seconds. I've been doing that all day. Haha, lol. How are you guys doing?
We're on session 97. Isn't that crazy? We're almost at 100.
That's exciting, though.
That's wild.
I wonder what 100's going to be.
TPK.
Nah.
Oh, wow.
We can't TPK right now because the death isn't with us, so...
Oh, they started the TPK. It's all down from here.
Can you imagine the entire party dies?
We
and
all
Neth is
wake up in
split
Brian's garden and roll me just like... Disappoint.
Disappointed.
So, last session, we begin with my notes, which says, I was late, so... so that's all I have from the very, very beginning. Then we have Ruby tries to rip off Bluey's tail. She's testing the strength of it. Sarah goes to the bar and has a terribly strong drink, and I know, has a terribly strong drink and kills Loran and Brian. What? Oh, tells. I
don't remember.
I was like, oh, is this
now?
I was like, is this some like he kills them out of love? But no,
too much PDA. He can't stand it anymore.
No, okay. He tells Loran and Brian that he loves them and doesn't want to die, and tells Cassie sorry. She says she's sorry, and it's a bar pile up. Then what I've got is time to plan. So we need information. We decide we need to go to Ballista and the Fire Forge, but we're going to go the next day. Bluey wants her armor being fixed, and Slya's like, well, why don't we do the same at the same time? Loran suggests a favor contract. Brian protests, tries to drop a contract about who owes what a favor and what those types of favors could be. Slya casts Lesser Restoration and gets her mum on. We're going to go to the forge to get info, look in the mirror, and then we're going to talk about diplomacy with Taravine. Loran's concerned about the mirror's effects on Brian. Brian says he'll be fine, but Loran is not convinced, but doesn't say anything. Sarah has some sass. Okay. Ice is the word to summon Foss. It's also his safe word, so bear that in mind when we use it. Cass asks Ruby about the forge. She says she's never been, but Foss pops up once was a follower of the Rat King. Foss and Ruby bond.
Foss tangent.
Yeah, this is all gonna like build up because at this point it wasn't canon that Foss.
No, not at all.
Literally, Taravine. So I feel like it might be like, oh, he was once a follower of the Rat King. No. Yeah. Anyway, Foss and Ruby bond with the language of their 4 feathers. Main exploit was metal for the shops. Foss and Taravine, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Yeah, here we go. He wants what all fiends want, which is to ascend and to be a bottom. He's not an arch duke yet. You need to take out those above you, and you have to be ready to take over.
You need a lot of courage to top of it.
Yeah. So if Taravine isn't ready to ascend to the next level, that could be an issue in our diplomacy talks. Cass and Slya suggest Foss reunites with Taravine.
Sure.
The tea today is strong. Yeah, so Cass and Slya are like, why don't you reunite with your lover? He says no, but we're gonna pass on the message, which is, baby, say it's okay. Okay, make sure we go in with a backup plan, and don't hide any of cards, and don't lie, which is all Foss's suggestions. Cass asks how you would break a contract under the guise of making sure Taravine is in a position of strength. which Foss kind of sees through but doesn't really mind either. We need an introduction, so we need the embassy is the best route. If we just kind of contact him ourselves, he's probably going to be pissed. Foss has some shrooms. Terrifying used to partake. Cass buys 5 portions of the shrooms so that the party can get high as and when they need to. Brian says some... Oh, I didn't read the full sentence. I thought it was just Brian says some terrible things, but it's not. It's Brian says some of the terrible things he's seen in the mirror and says he's prepared to look in the mirror because it's not real. Loran is not convinced. What if Carol is in there? Can alter things, can alter your mind. Because Carol attaches himself to the broken things. Too deep. Brian will give Loran the mirror once he's looked into it. And here is when we have Terrifying as a bottom.
No, God.
Okay. Out of scene, Daddy Gate happens. Oh,
Daddy Gate, oh my God.
That was us chatting. So I've got out of scene for when we, as our people, have things. So that was when Daddy Gate 2020 happened. Sia sends a message to Bleaster saying that we're going to go to the Forge in the morning. Sia sends a message to Brolad telling him we had to make an emergency exit. And if you make it to the Imperial
Sorry, I forgot that was his name.
Go to the Forge in Ironstone. So another castaway. We have some messages to Faridia, which I have all their info, which is basically just very wholesome and very cute. Cass and Celia fall asleep, hugging and crying. Oh, stop it. This is too much. Bluey and Ruby take the bunk bed. The world dissolves into chaos. And I have brackets, our world. So I think this is another one of like our nonsenseness. Ruby and Bluey take first watch. Ruby had never left the volcano before. Bluey tells Ruby that she's from a culty, magical... Bluey tells Ruby that she's from a culty, magical, memory-erasing place. Ruby wishes her the best in her journey. Bluey tells her to question her position under the Rat King. Feelings are valid. Thoughts, maybe not. Ruby offers to get Bluey a brain to try. Apparently she's not in the right headspace. And I have a face which is just like the pun for this. It's just like, no. Ruby is ordered to sleep. Saz says he's fine being on watch on his own. Bluey offers to wake someone up for him, but he says he wants some time. But then immediately wakes Brian and asks him to do the watch with him. Zarina calls, says hey. I don't know. Brian asks if Saz is doing okay. He's not, but Neff is alive. So Saz never wants to put Brian in a position he's uncomfortable with. Day family, and I have another heart. Brian wants to protect his Dehanes. Saz's priority with Loran were in the wrong order. Thought he was over that, but then it was his call that split the party. My handwriting, mate. I'm sorry. I think you've come a long way from making... we've come a long way from making you a cactus and calling you a prick. That was from Brian. So some deep sort emotional chats. Did you know Loran used to sneak into my bed and curl at the bottom, stealing my duvets? And it's just like, no, but that's cute. Saz falls asleep and Brian does the watch by himself. He sees all, creeps around and makes flowers for everyone. Cass makes herself a drink and Brian, readying both of them for the mirror. Cass holds on to his toe. Brian sees our group, Cass incorporal with the corpses. Okay. Yes. So this is in the mirror. So all of the group are missed, apart from Cass, who's corporal. She makes the corpses be alive. We counter some Ifrit, but we get past. There's necrotic energy from the door that hits us bad, evaporating the corpses after they've opened it. Cass walks through the door, but when the final person walks through the door, it slams shut. There's magical darkness. Sia casts dancing lights, which is lost in the dark, so we go in blindly. When we walk through many shelves, mostly empty with cobwebs, the floor the main walkway, it feels like we're walking into another trap. There's another wave of necrotic energy that hits Loran. Brian heals him. Every turn feels like a wrong turn. It's just unbearable heat from below. There's something metal that's like beneath us that like springs to life. And there's a battle that occurs. Brian and Loran get separated from the group. Brian tries to find the contract, but there is something there, something blocking him from taking them. Whoever would hold the contracts would die without magical means. This would require something like a bag of holding or an interdimensional place. So it's not designed to be held by mortal hands. Loran messages Cass. She don't mention doors there. Would have tried to mage hand the contracts into the bag of holding. Brian tries to dispel the magic. It works. Then Cass tries mage hand again, holds the contracts. Then as soon as Cass's mage hand holds the contracts, there's total darkness, which is a defense mechanism. And then it's literally like the mirror just goes dark and it's like a pause on the future scene. What we can gather from that is there's a lot guarding those contracts. Whatever happened at the end we've never seen it before. So it seems like the souls got taken away. So we don't know what happens to our souls once we get the contracts, but it felt like when Carol put Brian's soul somewhere that didn't exist, if we get that contract, don't think our bodies would be what we need to worry about. So we basically like, so our souls would get held hostage. Brian, not doing amazing, crawls into Brian's lap, hugs him close, and grows a flower on the top. I think it's meant to be Cass not doing amazing, crawls into Brian's lap, hugs him close. That's right. And Brian grows a flower on top of her head. Cass shares Foss's info and wants to come up with another plan. Loran suggests taking out Taravine, luring him out to where he's vulnerable. There's another plan, which is also lead the workers in a revolt, use Foss to lure him. Slya could send a message to Taravine in Foss's voice. So basically, I've got, in order of what we're going to try, is diplomacy, luring, and revolution. And then my final sentence to this was what has happened to the session. But yes, that's all I have for those notes.
Did we not leave the
also a possibility of
we didn't.
Planar binding or binding circle. But yeah,
Mr. Reader and Corvius's help.
Yeah.
I think we.
Yes. Yeah, the last thing on my notes is we finalize our plans. Done. End the session.
Finally.
Yeah.
All right, rest of the session.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been hours.
It's been hours.
Yeah, we didn't leave the room.
No.
Is it like daytime? Is it like nighttime again? Do we just have to like
We slept.
go immediately back to? Yeah, we slept. It's the next day. Off to the forge.
Yeah, next up, I think we need to be meeting Ballista.
Yeah.
So, everyone, as you all gather yourselves, you've awoken, you've discussed, you've had breakfast. Boss can be summoned if you wish to speak to him more. But the day is yours to do with what you will. So, what are your plans?
I think off to the Fire Forge.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, saying goodbye to Foss, he gives you a wave and he says, I can't quite believe that I told you all of those personal and private things from my life, but I'm glad that I shared them. And if you need me, I'll be here. And I have, looks to you, Cass, I have more of what you purchased brewing if you were run out.
Interesting.
Cheerio!
Thank you.
He says cheerio. Apparently
Surely
that's
doesn't
something.
want to come.
Well,
Where are you going?
I don't think we're necessary. Oh,
We're not meeting.
we're
him
just
today.
going shopping.
I enjoy shopping. Would this happen to have anything to do with the discussion of my ex-lover last night?
Not quite yet.
Not yet. Okay.
We can arrange a
Interesting.
tea party.
Well, could be
A
interesting,
mushroom
but,
eating party.
I think I made it quite clear that I wasn't sure. I don't know if meeting up again is a good idea for us.
It's not every day
really-
that you find a fiend bottom.
God, you sounded
It is
so
a very
Australian
common,
then.
but it's not every day.
Not every day.
Enjoy.
Not every day.
Look at mine. Look at mine.
Okay, my mum says
Sorry.
when people say that to me, shut up. I am Australian. Be quiet. Don't bully me.
But it's fun.
Just lean into it, Lily. Come on.
Well, you sound so
Yeah.
British. I wonder why.
Oh.
Not really.
I'll
I
beat
know,
your ass.
it's crazy, that, isn't it?
Please don't. Please don't.
Emma, you really like
fight.
me. No fight.
You fight right to jail. You make fun of Lily for Australian accent, jail. You drink too much Earl Grey tea, jail.
Oh shit, I'm getting arrested.
Okay, I support these new rules.
You don't drink enough jail, so.
You don't drink enough water, jail.
Jail.
You don't slip into the Daniel accent at least 3 times a day, jail. That's it. Anyway, Foss just says, I don't know. You'd be surprised how many fiend bottoms there are.
Can I insight check? How many fiend bottoms has he had in his life?
Wait,
Sure.
I wanted to.
19.
19.
God.
Foss, kobolds living in their natural environment tend to only live up to a certain age. In the same way that,
So it's all at 25 then.
He's in his years, but he's not wizened. He's a bit of a silver. He's got like streaks of grey through his scales, but some of them still shine. There's a twinkle in his eye. As you sort of give him that quizzical look of have you? And he gives you the look of I have. But more than one, it seems.
But obviously Taravine left a mark on you.
Well, what kind of mark? And he starts filling his clothes.
We don't
Brian just
necessarily
looks
need
around
to
at Cass
see.
and around please help.
You are doing very well.
Cass is like, you brought this on yourself, Brian.
You're doing very well. I'm actually going to sit down and watch a little bit more. Brian just
Yeah, Cass goes and sits next to Loran.
How can we broker an agreement between you and your ex-bottom?
He was a fan of contracts, truly. I mean,
He was a fan of what?
contracts.
Contract.
Before he engages in any kind of deal, he does have to prepare a contract so that he can't be double-crossed. It's just the way things are done here. We're on the cusp of the hells, you understand. It's a done thing. It's just the way the world is down here. Especially someone who works in the embassy or works for the Forge and the Devil's Spit. It's you get used to the kind of culture of don't trust anyone unless it's in writing.
Foss, did your contract with Taravine come to completion?
Yes. We had an agreement and it was mutually broken off. But we did at least get out. We got everything out of it.
Like,
we wanted from each other.
Was this a loving relationship? Is your
It
heart
was,
in pain?
It started out as something very intensely physical, but as time went on, there was
Brian
an
is
attachment
dying.
there.
His little demisexual heart can't take this.
There was an attachment there. We had an understanding. I'm as far as kobolds go, I'm quite the catch, you see. So I knew what I was worth, and when the proposition was on the table, I thought, well, sure. And it was fine, But like I said, you might have insinuated. I've been around the block a few times, and we just safely parted ways.
You know about the Rat King then, if you were once a follower of the Rat King.
I know
And
that.
then?
I want to know about the Rat King. I know that in the in the environment they found themselves in, because kobolds, nobody is truly native to one part of this plane. You know, kobolds can be found all over, and not all of them are in that sort of state that the ones who follow the Rat King are. A lot of them do live above ground and make towns from the scrap metal that washes up on the shores far away from here, and they live a very good life.
And get around the block.
They're very much. They are nomadic, more so than most, but it depends on the culture you go to. Certainly, I can't speak for all kobolds, but I can speak for those who follow the Rat King, and I can say that they are sheltered, very, very religious, and that is something very personal to them. They believe in their hierarchy of the draconic line. You see, like with kobolds being the common sort of like those who hold dominion over the land, and then everyone who is. Usually it's just based off of size. If you're larger, you're seen as closer to the skies, and the dragons that once flew there may still, it's a size thing. Mm-hmm. If you have wings, oh boy. I can't tell you much more. It's been a long time. And the alcohol and weed has riddled my brain. Like scrambled eggs. Left out in a pan. I may be a good looker. Delicious. He gives you a wink, Cass.
Cass is like normally loves a sort of flirtatious.
Oh no, this is banned. It's not like flirty. It's like I get that you do this as well. It's like a.
Oh, okay, all right. I thought for one of their boss was hitting on Cass, and I was like,
no, you're not a fiend.
Okay,
You're fine.
Okay. Cass is just like gives like a smile, like yes, I get it.
Like you understand me,
Okay, cool. Phew. Thank God. I thought Cass was getting hit on then, and I was like,
no, this is the first you're far too short for him.
He likes till bottoms.
What is happening?
Sorry.
Guys, this game has only just begun.
Oh my god.
Lily!
It's fine, we all know Sarah's.
Anna, you need to say these things out loud, not just in the chat.
What's happening in the chat? I don't even
know in the chat.
Oh, well,
Anna?
Look, Foss kept on talking. Okay, when Foss mentioned he was quite a catch. Was it? Yeah, quite a catch for a kobold. Blue will very briefly look at Ruby, like what is her response?
Oh, all right. I think you were like, oh, Blue's interested in Ruby, and I was like, we can't do this. No, we can't have
How much chaos can we cause?
Oh my god.
It's a love that cannot be. Ruby, do you have any response to Foss looks first off far too old for you, and second off far too into bottom fiends, male bottom fiends.
Like it was more
male like bottom fiends and the boots.
Male bottom.
And we are like what? How many? Like 10 minutes into this session?
Yeah, please. So, Ruby, do you have any thoughts about this?
No. Mind empty. Jesus.
I mean, that's the best.
I do not think that Ruby has any thoughts necessarily on the matter, nor any important points of interest to bring up to the court in front of the jury today. Thank you very much.
This is good.
Thank you.
I mean, I think.
Thank you for.
I don't want to like interrogate Ruby or anything, but I think what Bluey meant, or what I meant was like if she thinks he
Huh?
Does she agree?
With what specifically?
Yes, with his assessment that like he can get it. Supposedly,
he's a catch.
What? Does she agree with his assessment? Insight check.
You can choose either an insight check or a.
Ruby just like suddenly like hit out. How does it? Looking him up and down like, could you get it? I don't know.
Insight check or investigation if you want to find it out.
Is this to Bluey or to Ruby?
Insight check on Ruby, Bluey, or investigation check on Foss, Ruby.
Fuck, what are these low rolls today? 4. That's a 4.
4. Okay, I'll roll against it. I'll roll like a deception check.
Insight.
Ruby's salivating.
That's really high. Well, I need to bring up Ruby's sheet. I have Neffs up here. I'm silly. Ruby. It's a 19 on the dice, so this is not going to work.
Okay.
She's remaining stoic. It's a 20,
No, so
21.
what you're doing is you are rolling to investigate Foss to see whether you think he's a catch. Which is
whether I
ridiculous.
think he's a catch. Oh, like that. Oh, I thought I had my own
Whether
internal...
not based on your personal standards, based off of Kobold Society ranking.
Oh, okay. Alright. Investigation? You say?
Yeah, just add your investigation to that roll.
To that roll? Okay, it's a 22.
You've already rolled.
I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
22.
22. Okay, so looking at, I've got to describe this now. Right.
Male bottom
Looking at-
beans. Boots with the fur.
Foss. There's a twinkle to his scales. He's a very saturated hue of the sort of like ruby color that he is.
He's ruby
His
colored as well.
eyes are onyx black, but like I said, there's a twinkle. He has a very fabulous neck frill that's currently folded down, with like
The way you're
piercings on the
describing it, I
ends.
think I get the picture. So he's a catch in that case.
He's got a little velvet suit jacket.
With like mushrooms and
wrong.
weed just poking out of the
Yeah,
pocket.
literally a suit jacket.
It's just a dabbling kobold.
I'm so upset. Bluey, from that you gather absolutely nothing. So, about Foss's standing in Kobold Society.
Okay. Alright. Wait, we can end that path of
Can we
inquiry
go now?
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Just like to say,
Foss
Lil,
just
just down to
disappeared.
Wait,
you.
is Ruby coming with us? Ruby's coming with us, yes.
That is up to
Yeah.
you, oh great blue one. And all of you as well. Oh great compatriots of the blue one!
I suppose we can bring her, Saracen says, just like looking confused.
Yay! More protection!
Emma, you're a little
It's-
lanky.
Okay.
It's just the in-game, like, we probably wouldn't want to bring Ruby, but like the meta-game narrative of like, we have to because it's Thomas.
I think that Ruby, you can carry
Yes,
things. for us.
yes, I can carry all of the things.
Would you like to carry
Yes,
this 50 foot of woven rope?
most certainly. Anything!
Why do you have 50 feet?
It's a lot of rope.
Everybody does.
Carry it
Do they?
everywhere with me. It's in my inventory, you see.
Doesn't everybody?
Everybody has it, essentially.
Doesn't everybody carry at
It's in the
least
starter
200 feet of
equipment,
rope?
so
Does everybody carry 50 foot of rope?
it's in the starter equipment. So you guys probably don't. Some of you probably don't have it, considering how far we are into the campaign. But you would have definitely started with it if it was in your equipment.
I do not have.
You probably either used it up along the way, or for whatever
Laran
reason.
carries it for him. Sorry.
No, they used it up. They used it.
They used it. Rope is reusable.
Not when
No, but like they got some knots
it.
wrong. They couldn't.
No. The spice this morning. So much spice.
The absolute
spice
state
in
of
the
the support
morning.
crew.
All right.
Yes, I think we should head off to the forge.
Chat.
We'll see you later, Foss.
Goodbye.
And if you decide that you would like
Farewell.
to rekindle your contract with Terravine, we can always come back for you.
Contract. Yes, sure. Goodbye.
We'll say like thank you very much in Draconic as well. Just sort of like sort of thank you.
He says it in Draconic back as well. That's it.
Also, is Loran casting seeming on us before we leave?
He will do it. Let me just. Sorry, excuse me, one sec.
No worries, no worries.
And then I think Cass should maybe. Are we doing? I suppose we don't currently need to do it just yet, but like maybe Cass needs to also do the
detection.
Yeah, the non-detection. Do we need to get that set up?
Do I need to do it?
So you know that
I suppose
that was when you were sort of leaving the city, going into
places where we're not supposed to be.
I suppose so it's kind of fine for now. You are allowed to walk through the city
freely, and you don't have a disguise to speak of, so you are able to sort of freely, like, just show yourself as you are. So Loran will cast seeming. Oh wait, actually no, sorry, Cass, you did disguise yourself on the way in. So yeah, even though you're disguised, people saw you come in that way, and therefore there is no problem when you step outside in this seeming form that Loran has popped on you. The streets are busy. There are Ifrit. It's regimented as usual. It's still a bit. The air is still sticky, and it's still a bit tense. But otherwise, you are okay here. You do see though. I think as you all sort of exit out of the tavern, you remember when the Sisterhood were walking around and they approached you. I believe they approached you, Neff, when they were approaching the group and asking about the wanted, apparently wanted ballista. They handed out flyers, and you do see a couple of those up on the walls at the moment. She seems to be a person of interest, to say the least.
Do we see any more of the Sisterhood walking around in the city?
So you've only seen those three. The ones so far, you've only seen those three women. So make me an investigation check, and if you're looking specifically for the three women, I'll give you a bit more information. But just in generally.
Okay. The other thing that I think Slya would have been looking for is, does it seem a little bit more chaotic after what happened in the Forge?
Okay, can you make me a perception check instead then? Because you're trying to read the general area rather than.
Emma, you're a little bit laggy.
Sure.
That's a 15 on perception.
Also, George, you're very laggy.
Oh, I'm out. I'm back. Better?
Yep.
Yes.
Cool.
Okay. Cool.
15 on perception. So what you do notice is that even though by the count of your body clocks, it should be a low smog time, the air is very thick. It's very heavy, and that cannot be put down only to the weather here. It sort of hangs in the air. It obscures the highest levels of the towers and the archways which cross over this city. Another thing, yes. So as you make your way towards the Fireforge and you slowly kind of walk through, keeping an eye out for the Sisterhood, as you go, you do notice the Ifrit are slowly increasing in number, especially around the embassy, which, even though on the cusp of the Fireforge, just sort of where you're like about to sort of like cross the road towards it, you can see the district area where the embassy would be. And you do see there is a fair few Ifrit. They tower kind of amongst the general populace. Just watching a little bit closer. From this, at least on this street, nothing much else seems to have changed, but you know that this is a whole city versus a street, so you can't be certain that this is representative.
Yeah.
There might be stuff you have yet to see. Heightened security. So, you are, however, as I said, at the road leading towards the Fireforged. You are quite close to it, and you can approach if you wish to. Cool. So, who's leading the charge on this? Who is leading the charge?
I mean,
could Karen
Cass will probably just be, Karen.
Karen, okay. So, Cass, you kind of make your way across the road, pricking through the crowds of people, and with all your friends behind you. As you reach out to kind of open the doorway, it opens outwards in front of you. You have to take a step back before it hits you in the face. And in front of you, you see an Ifrit guard, sort of just like a duck out of the doorway, followed by another woman from the Sisterhood, who is just, they seem to be walking in tandem, but as she exits out, she does seem a bit surprised to see you, and she kind of looks over your group, and you do recognize this as one of the ones you met before. She's slightly shorter. Her face is almost completely obscured by a drape, which goes all the way around under her helmet, under her armor. You just see sort of two very like bright, like honey brown eyes looking back, and she kind of looks across and sort of scowls down the line and just walks past.
When Cass sees the Sisterhood, I think she has to I might have to roll a kind of performance check. Normally Cass is very good at sort of keeping it hidden, but I think she's struggling a little bit. So see the Sisterhood would be like, just wants to kind of kill her. So I might roll a performance check to see how well is it performance or deception?
Deception. Let's roll just a deception in terms of like if you're trying to keep to yourself, you're trying to keep yourself together.
Yeah. Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. None of you see what's happening to Cass as this Sisterhood woman walks past. Cass, for a moment, she locks eyes with you, and you feel everything just inside of you boil. And there's a moment where you think this has to be some kind of magic effect, but you know it's not. It's just all of your emotions and everything that she represents, that armor, everything that she is, so against what you are, just boiling over, and like a combustion almost. It just, like a volcano erupting. Let's go cliche with it.
Mm-hmm.
Your emotions are just, it's almost impossible to control them. And like, just on the tip of your tongue is a whole string of curse words, is just the words to cast a spell, but you manage to hold
I also
it
have
in,
I feel like Cass was already sort of starting to like think about casting Fireball, but then obviously doesn't, but like, was
I think probably only
wanted to like
notice.
Attack her.
Brian just
probably only
subtly
Brian would
puts his
notice
hand on Cass's shoulder and goes, pat, pat, but holding on tight.
A spark on the tip of Cass's fingers, but you hold her hand down, and Cass. No one quite notices. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. So, Cass, as you calm down as much as you can, considering all that's happened recently. Take a deep breath, and the Sisterhood woman, you watch her walk away and disappear into the crowd. And Neff, I think you would notice that probably wasn't the person who approached you.
Hi, I can see you rolled me from here.
Neff is not there.
That was really... Neff, you look at Roll Me and he just looks real disdain.
Hi, Roll Me.
We do need another cutscene with Neff and Roll Me, I think.
Maybe there's one coming.
I look at him.
And then look at him. He looks at me. There might be another one on the cards, but we'll see. But if they, with the two of them leaving the doorways free for you, it swings back and swings forwards. You kind of catch it as it comes out, push it open again. And Cass, you continue on inside. Inside is much unchanged. You do see Liara just kind of like Liara working with something around the around back of the counter. That sort of like doorway which opens up into the back room, where there is a entrance down to the drains. There is that automaton armor. That door is closed quite firmly, with a few extra locks than when you last saw it. And when you enter in, there's a moment where Yari kind of stops and looks a bit surprised to see you. And then she just forces herself to kind of go back down and work. Welcome.
My friend would like the new set of armor.
Yeah.
Kind of grabs Bluey and just shoves her forward.
So
Yeah, was this purchased from here?
no, I guess first of all, do you think this is salvageable at all? And it sort of gets the
Pauldron?
the armor of acid
Yeah.
resistance. Yeah, and it is just sort of like puts it on a counter and be like,
She says, gives it a look over and turns it. Well, it's worn down. It's pretty old. Seen a lot of use. I'd expect that. Yeah, this piece is a bit shot, isn't it? And she just picks up the pauldron. Kind of runs her hand over the ledge that's been dug into it. Man, this must have done a number on your shoulder. Can you still move that on?
oh, I've been totally, just like does
Very
a star
strong.
jump or something.
Interesting. You are... Yeah, okay, fair enough.
It did hurt though.
Right, well...
Anyway.
I can tell from the looks of this thing. Right, well, I can fix it. How long are you going to be in town?
Oh, gang.
Couple days.
Yeah, a few days.
Hopefully no more.
I have a commissions queue kind of in the works, but if you pay me a rush fee, I can probably get it on the top for you.
What's
Good
the,
lingo, that.
What's what's the total cost? If I would have.
So this is not armor from my shop, which means you don't get the guarantee. So you're gonna have to pay full price to get this fixed. It'll be 5 gold for the pauldron piece and another 5 on top for the rush fee. So 10 gold total.
Okay. Do you have any armor that is like ready made to sell or anything? And is
Nothing
it
cheaper than 10 gold.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Especially not if you're looking for something that's a good enough replacement for this. This is pretty interesting.
You just see Loran at the back like, favors.
Okay.
How much gold do you have, Louis?
Right. I have like 2 platinum, 9 gold, so I can cover it.
Oh yeah.
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 It's probably worth.
If you think so. So if I
Louis Sparks. My name is Loranda Hain, and I'm here to make a deal with you.
My name's static at the moment.
He's speaking in your head. It's fine.
Okay. Oh,
It's a message.
Yeah, no.
Magical message. You turn around.
Yeah, no names.
It's in your. It probably makes sense. It's a magical message in your head, and you turn around and Loran sees this look. It's just like.
Brian's looking between them like.
What sort of? Wait, how would I pay you back?
Very weak. Don't let me die.
I mean, that I'm already kind of, I guess, trying to do that for everybody.
Do it harder.
Then free labor at my shop for a month. You reject my first offer, I give you something else.
Can I?
You're young, you need experience in these matters. You're not going to be an adventurer forever. What's going to happen when you're done with the DC? You need to start building up the life experience now. That's how
Brian
I
works
see it.
there for 3 months.
Internship.
Also, I do think it'd be good for each and every one of you to work in my shop for free for at least a short amount of time.
Loran's slave nation.
Honestly, it sounds kind of like fun.
Trap nation. You're trapped in his shop.
Would I be able to choose a month or
We
work
can
parts of it at a time?
You could work part-time for 2 months.
It's a good deal, Bluey.
Alright.
I'm trapped forever.
Deal. I'll shake hands with Loren.
That was a mutual decision. A deal, it is. Okay. Shaky, shaky, shake. And you watch Liara just like, aren't you going to sign anything? And Brian's just, not Brian. I'm very sleepy. I was about to call everyone all stare. Oh my god. I am very sleepy. It's a hive mind.
Are you all right? No, you are all stare.
Why are you blinking? You're all staring at me. The Randall shakes Bluey's hand and was like, I trust this. He looks at Bluey. I trust Bluey with my life, funnily enough. Just about. One of my 9 lives, at least. I'm a cat man.
He's used a couple of them.
Okay, cool. Right, is it done? Can we move on, guys? This is taking a bit long.
Okay, thank you.
That's Cass to the group, not me to you.
I was gonna say.
I just want, as I said it, I was like, that could be me or Cass. No, that was Cass. Like, I'm enjoying this, but Cass is done with it.
Yeah, I think Slya
notices the kind of like quick tone Cass uses and just like raises an eyebrow, like as if we will discuss this later. But respect.
If you're rude to him, he'll just take 5 times as long.
In this one instance, considering the urgency of the situation, I will only give a small speech before we continue.
We need to check in on our
7
order
years ago, I was but an adolescent, wandering the seas, trying to find myself.
Excuse me. I think we were also waiting to meet someone this morning.
Yeah, that was where Slya was going with that. Was that she was saying that we needed to check in on our order of bespoke automaton armor.
The moment you say bespoke automaton armor, Liari looks away from the sort of enrapturing visage of Loran going off on his life story towards the two of you, who both look markedly more serious at the moment. And she just says, I was waiting for you to say that, come on. And she turns around and begins to sort of surreptitiously start to unlock all of the padlocks, and then looks over her shoulder and just out the door. It swings open, and actually, sorry, no, she would have gone up and closed the shop, turned it around to sign, made sure everything was down beforehand, and then she would have unlocked the doors. Unlocks the door, and you go inside, and you see the automaton armor is still there. However, you do not see Ballista in the midst. You look around, and there's just a barrel filled with various helmets. There's a table with almost a very like thick, chunky, fully constructed piece of automaton armor, sort of on a very solid like cast iron table, which seems to sort of like meld into the ground. No, otherwise there's no sign of Ballista. And Liari walks in and just says, "Hang on a second, let me lock the door behind you." And she pulls the door close. And she
as soon as the door's closed, I think Cass is going to say, did those two give you any trouble?
Not me. They're not looking for me. So Liari, though, she had to make a pretty quick escape. Probably not very comfortable. And Ballista, though.
I was going to say, I was like, wait, what?
I told you I'm exhausted. Just let it go. I'm sorry. If I make a name, just be like, just wait until I correct it, or
cool.
If I don't.
Or GLG.
What did I say? Ballista
had to make a quick escape.
Yeah, she's not very comfortable, so let me just and you watch Liari go over to the cast iron table towards that chunky automaton armor, and she begins to kind of like unbutton. unfasten the sides of it, where you see there are these like bolts kind of just like in place holding it together, and it opens up like a sarcophagus, and just kind of lying in the machinery is Ballista, just very still, like, this sucks, this actually really is dull, there's something poking into my back and it's been there for hours. Hi. Oh, you let you up. And she kind of sits up and she looks around and is like, you're alive.
Not all of us.
She looks around again. Susan. I'm sorry.
That's not Cass smiling in person. It was just the Susan reference.
I know.
No, in person, Cass is just like devastated.
Sorry. There's not a lot I can say to... Do you know what? I don't think me saying anything is going to help you at all, so I'm just going to shut up. And ask if you're still intending to keep your end of the bargain once we've...
Of course.
It's all said and done.
I've let one person down. I won't let another person.
At that, kind of, you sort of see Sarah just kind of like take a step back and sort of shrink to the back of the group beside you, beside you, Slya. And Loran gives you a look, Cass, of just like just kind of just like, come on, you're all right. But Ballista just sits up and sort of swings herself out of the metal kind of like casket. And she looks between you all and she says, I'm assuming you have your own plans from now, your own things you need to do. But at least one of you, and she looks to you, Cass, at least one of you was interested in, well, going to the embassy. Can I safely say that it's more than one of you now?
Sure, that's...
Yeah.
Whoever killed your friend, whatever you found inside that volcano, whoever it was, whether some Ifrit or Taravine himself, I can't get you an audience with them, but I can take you to the embassy and I can ask my contact if they'll see you. It's the best I can do. I mean, I want to do it for you, considering the promise you made to me.
That's all we need.
Do I just drop the moss off here? Or, like, do we come back and do that?
And the moss... It's just moss. No men. Just moss.
Yes.
No...
So Slya just kind of like gestures at like the bag of colding, in case anybody wants to just pull it out.
Yeah, Cass. I mean, it's Cass's bag of colding. She just starts pulling it out.
Understood.
As long as you don't set it on fire, it should be fine.
Understood. How are you escaping then, if we're leaving separately? Only one set of Mossmen came into the city. I assume they would expect them to leave the same way.
We have a cover story. They procreated very quickly.
Okay, so
heavily pregnant moss men.
I didn't know we had this cover story. What?
Oh, it must have come to me in a dream.
Loran just kind of like takes a step away.
I think Cass is kind of in her head like needs to leave with Ballista and the kids because that's upholding her side of the contract. It's not just here's the moss, I'm done.
Like, but if we need to leave suddenly, we might not be able to do that. So it might be good to leave the moss with you just in case.
I will do everything I can to leave with you. But if need be, you did express interest in the moss on your ship. It wouldn't be completely unheard of for you to have purchased your own set of the moss once they...
The baby moss, remember to go with the narrative.
I understand. Here's the thing, I'm far less concerned about, well, my end, because from what I see, the children will escape relatively quickly. The moment I have the goods, it will be only a matter of hours before they are on my ship and sailing. Or at least on my ship, awaiting freedom.
Sorry, Emma and Georgia, can you redo your cameras? There's something really funny going on.
What is it with our cameras today?
I don't know.
Are we back?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it still a bit slow?
Emma's back. You're a bit funny now.
You look good for me.
Oh, you're better
Yeah,
now.
now you're...
That was just better.
Yeah.
Back?
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Lisa says, obviously this network, it goes beyond just myself. It is a fair few people who want the same thing. So I don't have to be on the ship necessarily to escape. However, when they count people going into the city, they keep track of people leaving as well. I just don't want you to get stuck here or you to experience trouble on your way out. A freak can be dangerous. You've already lost one amongst your member. I don't
Is anyone listening to my moss procreation story? Because we can say there are so many. Like rabbits. But faster and more mossy.
I will. Okay, I just wanted to make sure, that's all.
Ballista. Susan died, and obviously she was the one who had the bracer on. What does this mean if we try and leave?
She died outside the city. But you made it so she could not be detected once she left city limits. She disappeared. Here is what I think they will believe. If she is not found soon,
she won't be found.
From the perspective of the Ifrit, if she is not found within the city limits, then entrance into the city will be likely cut off. At least until they've accounted for everybody inside.
She will not be found.
If we were to...
My recommendation is to get out as quick as you can and do not dally. I think it was you who all set off the fire in the volcano, yes?
It just happened. Oh wait, hang on. Oh wait, no, never mind.
We did
that. We did.
No,
we
it
did
was.
do that. Never mind.
We did that.
Eruption is one thing that happens all the time, but there is something else, a different kind of smoke that comes from the forges, which is, it's been billowing far stronger, and there has been small rumors since the late hours of yesterday.
What have you heard?
Not that I've heard, but Liari has told to me. Whispers through the shop. Something happening inside. If there's whispers in the streets, then there is something a little bit more than that in the more official channels of the city. My recommendation is, if something happens, or if anyone catches on, just leave as soon as you can. Do not tarry. I think you'll be okay, but you can never be too cautious here.
Do you think we would be able to teleport out of the volcano itself, since it's outside the city limits?
It's possible. It's certainly possible.
So if we get out through the volcano, then we don't have to worry about guards on the way out.
I have a slightly selfish request. If If you feel in any way that you're being followed or chased, please don't use the tunnels. We need them. We need them to be secret.
Of course.
I don't know if I can put this in writing, but please just don't do it.
Understood.
But if you feel that you have time, if you feel that you can, all you need is to take one step beyond the limits of the city. If you can make it that far, you can make it. Full stop. If any of you get left behind or separated, we will offer you shelter. And that's the best I can do. We're already doing too much. But then again, you're also doing a lot for us.
Thank you.
I will do what I can to be with you when we rescue the children.
The children are God, sorry. Can I read you I need to read you the message Lily just sent me. This is unbelievable. Does Loran not support Brian's Mpreg Mosfic? That's all. Look at us.
Well, does he not?
Here we are.
What's the
Does he
answer?
not?
I think it's more that that was the dream you were having about the boss having children rather than you guys having children. I think is more.
He's giving Ulster space to sort of really process those emotions.
Brian's mind works in mysterious ways.
Ballista says, I don't know why you've all started laughing. I don't think anything you're saying is all that funny. But to ground the situation once more. In short, if you're going to use the tunnels, make sure you're safe and not being followed. You don't necessarily have to be with us when we escort the children out. I think that from what is your name again? I'm sorry. She looks to you, Ulster.
Baz.
I apologise. From what Baz was saying, it seems that she has an idea of Moss being able to procreate, and if you can sell that, then I'll leave that to you and I'll trust you with it.
It can procreate because it's moss, so it's nothing to do with like an actual animal process of like pregnancy and offspring. It's more just it's multiplying like spores. It's very believable.
It sounds extremely believable, and I will leave it to you to explain that to the guards once the children are safe. So, however it is you can, escape the city. I'll try my best to stick with your plan, to stick to your story.
When do you plan on leaving with the children?
I will escort the children as far as I possibly can, escort the moss to my ship, to make it seem more legitimate, and then I will return to the city. I can't leave quite yet.
I see.
We still have things to do.
Unspeakable.
She gives you a look, Baz. And I also have to.
Yeah.
I have to come up with a new disguise and a new everything. I can only hope my ship is still.
Is the braces just generic braces for everyone? Or are they as in linked to a person?
There is a limited amount of braces. The reason is because they only let a limited amount of superior magic users into the city at a time. This is an extremely magical place with extremely important fiends and people here too. So once the braces run out, we got.
But what I mean is, do they know? So this bracer that I'm worrying.
They will
Do
know
they
if
know
one's
that that's
missing, yes.
linked? No, but do they know whose would be missing? Obviously, if you couldn't tell the person. What I mean is you need a new disguise. What if you disguised yourself as Susan? Because you say you need to change your disguise as cast gestures. What if you disguised yourself as Susan and left with us? That would
Susan
help.
did have a mask, didn't she? Similar to my own.
She did. And we can also disguise it so that you have Susan's face.
If you can make that happen.
We could easily make that happen.
If
If you have to
then
change
I
your
will
complete
remain
disguise.
here to help you. Okay, this sounds like a plan.
What was Thomas? What was Neff disguised as? Was Neff just?
She just looked like her tiefling self, but she changed her eye shape to look more. She usually just doesn't have like pupils, so she just gave herself different eyes. So she should look.
Yeah,
kind of
Cass suggests it, but it's not. It's purely a strategy so that they can all get out safe. But like the thought of seeing Neff is like, she's like, but wants everyone to get out as safe as possible. So if that seems like a smarter option than Cass trying to walk out without Susan.
Ballista says, here's my suggestion. Cast it on me now. And I will... No. Yes, cast it on me now, and I'll escort you to the embassy. Take the time you need to be in there. As you are doing that, I will organise the moss and escort it to my ship. I'll meet you back here this evening. I'll be... And she points to the casket. Probably in there. And then we figure out Cass as we go.
Cass turns to Loran and goes, "Would you mind?"
Well, let me just check. There's a pretty high-level spell that I used to change all of us. So just going to see if I've got anything else. Anything a bit, less beefy.
And dropping the original spell would recast it mean we would have to Ballista would see us for who we are.
That's fun.
That is true.
I feel like can't Ballista
concentration.
kind of see us anyway? Because she knew that Cass is disguised.
She knows Cass is disguised. She hasn't seen the rest of you in your true forms yet.
Okay,
but also
this
isn't a concentration spell.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if he was going to be doing it, he'd be using his 5th level spell, his other 5th level spell slot.
Can you recover either?
He probably can. I'll look at the sheet during our break or when we go to loot next. Loran says, well, if this is happening, then it's happening. And he waves his hand over at Ballista.
As soon as he does that,
turn around.
Just turn. Yeah, Cass has turned away as well. Cass is like, I can't see this.
Yeah, both Cass and Sarazar all kind of just look away, and before your eyes, sort of like filtering up from the ground, you see Neff's purple tiefling visage overtake Ballista's form. She says, and looking at the two of you, Cass, and looking at Sarazar too. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for this. That is a good idea.
It was my suggestion. Cass, as Cass says that though, Cass now will not be looking at Ballista at all.
Understood. Sarah does the same.
This is good grounds for their relationship.
Certainly.
Oh.
Okay, so Lisa says, well, let's make our way out. And Uliari says, leave it to me. She goes towards the door, begins to unbolt everything and push it open, and you are escorted back through the floor of the shop. And she takes down the close sign. You know, it's kind of like 5 minutes on break, on lunch, or and puts the shop back up to open. Yes.
Still not looking at her. Ballista, the sisterhood did approach Susan, saying if she'd seen you. So just heads it up, that if a sisterhood approaches you, that might be why, and that you did meet them at the tavern, but you said you didn't know who you were. Cool.
I will do my best to recreate.
Just realised that, like, that would just be like, the sisterhood like runs up to Ballista disguised as Susan, like, hey, did you see her yet? It's like, oh no.
Good stuff. All right, so you guys exit the Fireforge and begin to make your way towards the embassy. And right there, we're just going to take a blue break because I really need to go.
Sounds good.
Yes.
We'll be right back.
Back in a little bit.
Boom Audio, hello, and Clickety Clack, we're back with a brand new track. We're online again, hello.
So, you guys exit from the Fireforge and start making your way towards the embassy. So,
Hello, Sorella. Come.
You still don't technically know.
No, but we feel like
Emma
it.
being like, stop ruining my surprises in game.
I'm just excited because every time Ryan's spoken to Sorella or us, they've almost had a throwdown, so this should be fun.
Indeed.
Cass is like walking to the embassy like,
So you make your way towards the embassy, and you are surrounded by these kind of like only reaching up to second story buildings, like, tall roofs, but like nothing particularly scraping the skies at all. And any sort of like towering structures that you would see, they are covered mostly in smog at the moment. But the embassy itself, it reaches up, and even though there is a heavy smoke kind of like covering the skyline, you do see just the ominous shape of the tower and the arches kind of like springing from it in the distance. They are black and tar-like, and they reach across to the separate districts of the city. And this is the first time that you realize you have to break off of this level that you're on, taking some side streets and going up various steps to ascend to one of the higher levels where the walkways are black obsidian, and every milestone is marked with a lot more Ifrit than you would have expected. Or maybe you did expect this level of security up here, but it is certainly increasing compared to what you're used to. And ahead of you, you see the sort of like the almost like melting, it's so hot, golden visage of the embassy. The mouth of the entrance is just sort of like almost like a dripping. It's so hot. However, people are still walking to and fro, wincing a little as the heated metal just kind of like falls on their clothing and burns through, blistering a little. But you understand that this is the kind of mark of suffering needed to enter into a place like this, so closely associated with the hells. It is a sort of square based tower-like structure, the top of which, or how high it is, you can't quite see because of the smoke. But you do see on each side there are like sort of sticking out, sort of jutting out pillars which finish in spikes about 4 stories up. There are ornately carved designs which are also dripping in places, similarly to the designs.
I don't know. Well, we'll just.
Are we back?
It should be. Hold on. Sorry, Discord just crashed. Discord, what is going on? I'll fix this.
Yay!
That should be.
We
okay.
love a malfunction.
Discord, please.
You good?
Should be, yeah.
Okay.
1 2 1 2 testing. How's that on the stream?
Should be good. Audio, I think, is fine, but it's capturing video, it looks like.
Okay, great. So similar to the outside, when you were approaching the city from the Sea of Flames, you saw those imps messing with the decorations. Here they are somewhat more intact, protected by the barrier of the walls of the city, the kind of like molten walls of the city, and the fact that it's a lot less hot here. It's only really sweating a bit, this building. And there's not too many people going inside. There are Ifrit stationed here, 4 abreast on either side of the entrance, spaced maybe 10 or so feet apart, well within range of each other, lining the walkway, at least the walkway which seems to approach the embassy, and just keeping track of everybody who goes inside. And at this point, just kind of as you're on the cusp of like turning so it's obvious that you're heading in that direction and carrying on as though you could be going anywhere on this level of the city, Ballista says, I should probably go first, just to make sure that my contact is still there and expecting me. Make sure there's no problems on the inside. And
will it be a problem that you don't look like you anymore?
And she shrugs and she says, I may not look like me, but... and she's kind of got all her belongings with her. And she pulls out her papers, which she entered the city with. I entered the city for a few very specific purposes, and I have permission to enter here. So, shows there is like a sort of like a itinerary of sorts, which seems to have been approved. And she just says, I can enter and ask for you. I know I don't look like myself, but here they rely far more on paperwork than you'd expect. Well, maybe not, considering we're getting that close to the hells. And she kind of says paperwork with a smile, knowing everything's made pretty much of leather.
I think Cass just wants to do a kind of general perception check on the surroundings, like how are people responding to us, and
anyone else do something like that? Sure, you certainly can.
Yeah.
Cass watches sort of like also kind of like comes outside and eagle eyes looking around. 18, 20, and Slia?
That's another 15.
Okay. So, all other than Slayer, both you guys in the same kind of ballpark. You notice that the Ifrit are standing on guard. They are alert. The sort of structure of this area is that you come out of the sort of like stairwell you climbed up. There are a few sort of walkways branching off to various different sections with along those walkways sort of more towers sort of leading upwards, sort of long thin buildings disappearing into the skyline. You can see the beginnings of the prison, which you remember kind of like was a web sort of structure, like on the lower level, just kind of like beginning to sort of like spread out below you, but you're not going there. As far as you know.
Yes, because they're like,
that's the right way.
What's the better we end up there?
Right to jail. There are some buildings, like larger, more square regimented buildings, which are built into the walkways, which seem to be general bazaars, less affluent regions, but are still being used and have a lot of thoroughfare. The embassy itself is kept quite clear. So it's going to be obvious when you start branching off towards that area. Did I ever share with you the images of the city?
No.
I will send them to you. These are a pretty accurate representation, but let me see if I can copy. Just do a little screenshot for you.
Also, I had a question. Would it have been possible, rather, to kind of like incite the guards as we get closer? See if we're drawing any particular type of attention?
Sure, you can certainly try this.
Okay.
Just say when you want to incite them as I kind of describe where we're going. And also I'll just the Discord. And add.
Also, there's a fair bit of lag on your camera, Emma.
Is there a mine? Because often it happens at the same time for us. Or am I at normal?
This city.
Oh.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
With that golden building being very similar to the embassy, except the approach is slightly more like what you would find. Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah. So yeah. I'll put that in the Facebook as well, Thomas, so that you can see it.
Okay. Actually, I can see it in the Discord chat now. I've got it like split up so I can see it.
Cool.
Oh, it's fiery.
Yes, it's the fire elemental plane.
It's got some spice to it.
Yeah.
Check it out. Look at that. Wow. I can even
Obviously, the
switch between
volcano
them
is
now.
my
Look
own
at this.
creation, so it's a bit. It's not on there, but you can see. Yeah. Right, so golden capped roofs, Ifrit lining the walkway. You guys kind of like set yourselves to one side, maybe, or how do you kind of just like blend into the natural surroundings as Ballista begins to walk towards the embassy?
Are we supposed to be going with her, or are we just supposed to be like pose? Croc.
No, she explained just then that she was going to go in first to make sure you can get permission.
Okay. I thought she meant she was heading up the group, so we're not going in with her.
Okay.
No, it seems like she's going to go in first to check.
Would now be a good time to insight check the guards along the walkways?
You haven't approached them closer. You're staying, unless you would like to approach them a little bit more.
Nope.
Cool. while keeping your distance. It's still a bit far to get an accurate reading on their expressions.
Okay.
But on their demeanor, generally, they aren't moving from their posts. Even when a ballista arrives, although they do track her movements as she goes, and you watch her flinch as a drop of molten gold just kind of like simmers on the top of her cloak, burning through a little as she walks through the entrance, flourishing her papers as she goes. Yes.
Can I try something a little bit sneaky?
You sure?
Can I try to scry on Cerelaras?
You try and scry on Cerelaras? You certainly can try, yes.
Okay, I tried.
So, natural 1 on the saving throw. However, as you feel your scry kind of like projecting forwards, you do feel it hit like a barrier where it's the square sort of base of the embassy, and you get the impression this is a warded area. There are certain magics which won't be able to pass through. If you want any more information about that, now that you know it's there, you can certainly do an Arcana check.
I'll do an Arcana check.
It seems,
Ooh.
it seems for all intents and purposes, this is a projected area.
I think that's going to be a really good roll.
Sure.
18 plus 26.
26. You know that there is a very similar ward to this on the city which prevents teleportation. That kind of magic, those kinds of penetrative magics, where you can either move between planes or cast sorts of divination, it seems, as well, are limited to a degree within the plane, it seems, or at least entering this building. So this building has a specific ward on it which prevents outside eyes seeing in. The planes, I can't speak, I'm sorry. The hells are not a very trustworthy place. You know this from speaking with Loran and doing your own research before you came down here. Nobody trusts anyone. You get the impression that from what you've experienced just now and from what Belisa has told you, you're probably going to encounter a lot of security, which is probably why Belisa had to go in ahead. So the scry doesn't work, but you have it's through your staff, so you're not losing any spell slots.
But from that, can Brian infer that Cerelaras is in there because the scry got blocked? Is that kind of?
You can infer whatever you like from that.
He's probably in there, Brian says.
Okay, before we go in, I just want to out of character confirm basically we want an official introduction to Taravine and have a meeting with him. Is that kind of what we're trying to gain from this trip into the embassy? I just want to make sure that we know what we're aiming for before we go in, and then are just like blah blah, let's just bring out Foss.
And what are we prepared to offer Cerelaras in return?
Yeah, these are things that we just need to have a
sort of.
I don't have much. Yeah. Well,
Gratitude?
He asked Ballista for a favor, so the likelihood is that he will potentially ask the same of us.
A favor.
Not the fun kind.
If need be, I have.
Not the fun kind.
I am already quite indebted. What is a bit more? I can offer the favor.
Or, and Loran looks to Ruby.
Do you think?
I don't think
Cerelaras is going to want a favor from me.
Thank you for falling on that sword. But we should probably discuss it a bit more before we offer you up as a sacrificial lamb.
But what if he does accept Ruby? What if the favor is just to be a friend and travel the world? Maybe Ruby would enjoy that.
Ruby?
That's what he's going to offer.
I will enjoy anything you'd request of me.
Oh no.
I don't think we're gonna get much of a choice.
George, no.
But I'm sure we have wiggle room to suggest to them that it's not a group thing. But that being said, I actually think it might be. Well, I think it might actually be worse if it's not a group thing, because then there's one of us stuck. You know.
Yeah, but I'm already quite stuck. So it's literally the way I viewed my post-grad debt. I was like, I already have my undergrad debt. What is a couple of 10,000 more? What is more debt to me right now?
Fair.
But what if you nominate someone he specifically wants a favor from, like he did what they did with Slia last time?
Oh, we can say no, counteroffer. Have this person instead. I know I don't have a lot to offer because I am already indebted, so that might be a notch against me. But,
Ruby's the only one who isn't potentially tied to the fate of the whole world. So maybe it would be the least dangerous for the world to offer the favor from Ruby.
Yeah, but Slyan'ssun isn't going to want a favor from Ruby.
How do you know what they want?
Well, we can try and offer. Okay.
Maybe
the art of the bargain.
That kobold
Okay. This is how it will work then. Slyan'ssun asks for a favor from Slia. We're like, no. How about this kobold? He's like, fuck that. No. Then I look more of an attractive offer in comparison to the kobold.
Maybe Slyan'ssun will just do it.
The art of the bargain. Cass isn't laughing, by the way.
Try to save Kalkarn out of the goodness of their heart.
The world, though. We could try and sell.
Well, I'm not going to talk about Kalkarn, but they clearly had an agenda which they were sticking to, which means they, at the very least, have some kind of moral code. If we can crack that, maybe we'll be able to figure out what it is that they want. It could just be that, you know, they have bigger fish to fry than a country. Sorry, Sarosa, please don't cry. Kalkarn's not everything.
Oh, God.
But you get it. And Sarosa says,
don't anger the Sarosa.
Yes, what Brian said, please.
We also need to be careful of, we want an introduction to Terravine, but we don't know as Slyan'ssun is in regards to Alan. So we should probably keep that a little bit. You know?
Try and find out. Try and take a look.
How?
She just kind of taps her head.
Oh, that is very smart.
Oh. Also, we are all currently disguised. I mean, I'm potentially not, but I mean,
worth a shot.
it depends on if Slyan'ssun would even. Is it just like a favor from a random succubi? Like, I mean, I have to assume he can probably tell. But
I think getting in Slyan'ssun's head could be useful, since they're one of the most impenetrable minds we've encountered apart from Rule. And we never got the chance to use that on Rule, so.
I mean,
not that I'd want Slia to see what was inside Coral's head. I'm sure it would be fun.
I know Loren's also capable of looking.
I could.
In case one of us fails. But if mine works, I could also see if I could just casually suggest. Slia says suggest very deliberately. So you get the idea that it's a spell. That they set up the meeting with Terravine for us for free. And just make it sound very reasonable.
Good soft magic. better than Gaius. Very violent, very aggressive.
We just have to be careful with
So
that.
this is, I think, the only time I've ever had to refer to the legal code of the city, which I promised I would do if you guys ever were about to break any rules. So, laws of the city. Using magic to influence an individual without consent. Imprisonment up to a year. Fine or damages up to 1,000 gold pieces.
Well, looking into their mind isn't illegal, right?
It's using magic, yes?
But it's not
influencing.
It's not influencing.
It's not influencing.
Just, but
thoughts is
the suggestion would definitely be illegal, yeah.
Okay, no suggestion then.
Okay.
Ace of 20 disappointment crew.
I'll just go get my dad to see if we can find any loopholes here.
Oh, true. Oh my god. Can your dad be a character?
I'll just rattle off the list. So this is mostly for lords, officials, nobles. And you would expect that this would mean Cerelas is an official, considering they have a position at the embassy. Assaulting or impersonation, death. Assaulting, impersonation of could also be flogging or imprisonment. Blackmail, flogging and exile. Bribery and attempted bribery. Exile up to 20 years. And a fine up to double the bribe amount. Murder,
thinks about Foss.
Imprisonment, fines.
I don't think.
We don't.
And then we'll flog some more.
I think a sneaky little detect thoughts is perfectly passable.
Sure.
Yeah, I think detect thoughts isn't illegal.
Fun things which I think you guys already would have just known were against the rules: espionage, forgery, hampering justice, theft, treason, vandalism, using magic again against to influence an official.
I think
those are all. Yes.
Not done any of them.
No.
Looks over to
assaulting
the billowing
a citizen,
smoke from
disturbing the
volcano,
peace, damaging property.
No,
you haven't done those ones.
Don't know who you're talking about.
Entry documents for
fraud.
No.
Fake news, right
probably
there.
not. Absolutely not. Forgery. Looks at like the forged paper.
You engaged in fraud. And now you must pay. No,
it's like espionage and treachery. Yeah,
I just wanted to make sure that you knew that was illegal, which means there are probably people in place or systems in place to be like, questionable, and hold you accountable to those actions.
Okay, how does Loran react to the read thoughts suggestion?
So long as it doesn't get me killed, I'm willing to give anything a go.
I will not stop.
What did you say, sorry, Ulster?
I will not allow this to happen.
Wonderful.
What, the detect thoughts or the death?
But
wait,
the death certainly. If I think it's too dangerous, I will attempt to stop.
But yeah, if Slya thinks that Loran thinks that the read thoughts is like too dangerous of a plan, that will affect how her judgment on whether or not she thinks it's a feasible idea.
Do they know you've done it?
After
if you push too far, they do.
If you push too far.
You can get surface thoughts and then you can probe a little deeper for something more juicy, the real tea. But afterwards, yes, Slya, you are correct.
All that tea.
We could just mention Alan and see if, yes, my buddy Alan passes his surface thoughts.
Also quite a risk just outright being like, Alan.
We could say we're just really into the business of seeing fiends, Taravine, heard Alan sometimes came around here, and see what the reaction is.
We can do those things 100%. 100%.
Okay. So we decide what we're happy to offer in return for this introduction to Taravine. We've got the backup of
Ruby.
So Ruby, then Cass.
Ruby first.
Okay.
What about Foss?
Foss does like fiends. Maybe
I feel like
maybe
Foss might need some consent. So
we could message Foss to see if Foss wants to join an exclusive dating program with fiends organised by Sorellas.
That's what they're really up to. I have to figure it out. We can explicitly ask for something that isn't a favor.
That too.
Alternatively, I could offer my services. I'm a fairly good mage. Access to the chronological probably is pretty powerful.
No. We can't let them near the pay night. That is a bad idea. I rarely say that to you.
It's spray bottles.
Bad kid too.
And just like opens his mouth. It's so hot up here.
Emma, your cam's really likely.
We need to figure out what they want, I think. If anything, that's probably what we should use the detect thoughts for.
That's what
getting
I was
into their mind.
Going to say.
Perfect, Slya. We are very alike. I enjoy this and the intelligence you bring to the table. Not rivaling my own, of course, or my husband's, but you certainly do your darndest.
Always appreciate you, Loren.
Like,
I feel like the surface level of that is joking, but you can tell she's actually being really quite sincere.
Yeah, and you can tell Loren's being a bit of like just spewing shit. He appreciates the intel. Regardless, we offer up Ruby. That doesn't work. We figure out what they want, and then we just go for it. Go from there.
Cool.
We could also just ask for more time if we need to decide. We can take an hour. I'm sure they've associated with us before. I'm sure they wouldn't deny us that.
I have almost fought Sorellas on every occasion I've met them. Because I don't like...
enough, they've always seemed quite calm in the face of that. So maybe there's something there.
I just don't like that they keep secrets. I don't like liars.
You know, but I'm not trying to go against you. Keeping secrets isn't the same as lying.
Well, I hold them in both equal regard at times. We don't have to talk about this now.
Bluey would like to sort of lean in, and be like, are we actually offering up RUBY?
RUBY.
Loran looks at you and Louis, and he says, Louis, I hate to ask this of you, but can you please abuse your power for good?
For good. Nothing bad's gonna happen.
Abuse your power, Louis.
She'll just have to like shine shoes for a year or something.
Shine shoes for a year? Oh god.
Better than eating rats.
PA.
Yeah.
Being a PA could be really good. Good one.
Yeah. I don't feel bad about this person.
I have felt neutral about this from the very beginning. I would have probably felt a bit more emotion if it was anyone else in the group, but
I have no strong
Ruby, I know you can hear all of this, by the way, but please, Ruby, I know you can hear all of this, by the way, but
that's all right. I am perfectly happy to. I do speak Common. It is one of the 2 total languages that I can understand and speak.
Wonderful. Then why don't we just ask Ruby? Ruby, are you happy to be a PA for a mysterious tall person for approximately a year?
I do not know what a PA is, but I would most certainly like to do whatever it is that you please.
Good. There we go.
Anything to please the red blue one. All hail.
Bluey,
I mean, as long as you're alright with it, then I guess it pleases me, but...
Then I will do as you say! If it pleases you, that pleases me.
This is fine.
I want you to do what you want to do.
I want to do what you want me to do.
Well,
remember, feelings are valid, but thoughts aren't, so let's move.
Fair enough.
We have to wait.
I forgot why I said that.
Oh, right, okay. Then let's stay right here.
We could just walk in casual circles to exercise.
We could act natural. We could comment on the architecture or the.
I don't like it.
Okay.
Like it.
It's a bit much, isn't it? They're trying very hard to be like hell, but they're not actually hell. So
it's just very aggressive with all the points and the spikes. You see, in Messiah, it's more just like it's blue, so it's not as aggressive. But here it's like gold and red, and it's very much evocative of fire and death.
Loran looks down at this all gold and red outfit.
That's not made out of rock and steel, Loran. That's made out of fabric and moves and has fluidity to it.
I need to cancel my latest outfit commissions quick. I thought I was really getting somewhere with this, with like a kind of, you know, like a steel singlet.
please no metal. It's spiky. You could fall, and wizards just don't do metal, you know. Armor.
I was considering wearing plate armor, but not for me. No.
I don't think you'll be able to carry the weight of it.
No, I'm very. I can only carry the weight of approximately one Ulster.
And the entire group, of course.
Oh, naturally, Loran falls to the ground. Oh, goodness me. You drag me down.
Lads,
I'm acting natural. This is where I belong.
Draw attention to us.
Get up.
We draw attention by nature. I disguise just as succubi. Oh, wow.
Les, thank you for everything you do for us.
I mean, static, like, no.
Well, like, you know.
He pinches your cheek, Bluey.
Oh.
He's quite heavy, Sarza. Could you take him?
Loran begins to swim, like, you can just put me down. Sarza's already like,
Here you go, Sarza.
Sure. Oh. Loran like flops like a cat who doesn't want to be held. Like, no.
Cassie's normally down for the antics, but is so not down for the antics right now. Kind of like looks at Slya and is just like, damn, this is what it's like to be you.
Slya just kind of like covers her face and start like just a little chuckle.
I wonder if Sarza can hold more than one person. Bluey, you should get up there too.
Brian, no, not in front of the embassy.
I don't know if I'm carrying a lot of other kinds of baggage. I don't know if I can do much more.
Sarah, can you pick me up in one arm and Duran in the other arm?
Emotional?
Yes, I definitely can. But it's really the time. My muscles are quite unparalleled. But I don't know.
I mean, if someone else wants
Brian,
to
we're natural for our group, but not natural for a bunch of succubi.
I don't know what natural is.
Oh.
Just
Bluey's a tiefling at the moment.
And Sarza holds an arm out. Just once.
Brian jumps up immediately.
Sarza's muscles almost tense out of his shirt.
Sweet.
This is fine.
He's only 105 pounds on his arm, so
puts you both down. On that note, you see a purple skinned figure approaching you. They seem to be Susan, but you know Ballista, and the moment they exit, I think Cass and Sarza kind of instinctively just kind of like flinch and look down a little bit.
I think when Cass first sees Ballista come out of the embassy, like her heart kind of gets like, she gets really excited, then realizes it's Ballista, and then kind of is just not sad because she likes Ballista, but I think
I'd hope she liked Ballista.
I think she might like dig her nails into her hand, and it's just like
unspeakable evils.
Unspeakable evil.
You know what? We need to make like an out of context quote compilation.
Ballista, disguised as Susan, approaches, and she says, "They'll see you."
Thank you.
Wonderful.
I walked in and they just knew.
That's a bit weird.
Disguises then.
Mm-hmm. Everyone, you know that Neff has met Sorelleras.
Yeah.
And Susan was
Yeah.
So, Ballista was disguised as Neff, so.
Yeah.
Well,
but she had different coloured eyes. It's totally
foolproof.
Superman with glasses.
Puts on the glasses.
Yeah,
Where did Neff go? Oh, he's back.
Oh, there.
Yeah.
I like to think that Neff uses that as a disguise because that's a disguise that might fool her. So she thinks that it would fool other people.
Oh.
Oh. Well, now she is well and truly disguised because she's halfling.
I gave them your names as Baslaz, Saz, Static, Karen, and
Cinder.
And Cinder.
Yeah.
So
Baslaz and Saz is very close to
Ruby. So you've been added to my itinerary. You can come in with me.
Thank you.
You want to come, or is it change your minds?
Can I insight check Ballista? Just see if
Ballista,
anything else went down. Ooh, natural 1.
Ooh.
Unfortunately, it is.
Woof.
She's incredibly hard to read. You can ascertain absolutely nothing from her interaction.
I feel unlike myself.
Oh.
There's still just not even looking at Ballista.
Shall we get this over with then?
Please.
Let's.
Okay.
So, you all begin to make your way across the walkway towards the embassy, and by now the Ifrit's certain that you are heading through, and they watch you as you come, and you don't see any of them. There are enough Ifrit in the city, Ifrit presence, that you know these probably aren't any of the ones who greeted you or you've met so far, but they still regard you with the same suspicion those first two you met on the docks and on on the coast did when you first teleported in.
Do Ifrit have friends?
No. They suck. Let's move on.
Loran says, I'm a bit more open-minded than that, and they probably do have friends, family, diverse cultures and ways of viewing the world. It just seems to be a very popular occupation. Yeah.
Seem very unhappy.
Cass, let me give you a pat on the back.
I'd rather you didn't.
No, I'm not going to do it. But anyway, as you make your way forward...
Normally she would have loved a pat on the back, but not right now. Not today, Satan!
Loran gives you yet another questioning look, maybe the second or third of the day. But you make your way across and you enter through that kind of melting golden archway, and you feel sort of these like hissing, you just hear this hissing noise as driplets of molten metal hit your clothing, and occasional burning like hot glue against your skin. But it almost immediately cools as it meets the temperature difference, hardening it into sort of just like droplets on your shoulders and on your backs. And as you enter in, there is a small alcove with another Ifrit waiting to check your papers, and they just wave Ballista through, and they stop as they check her itinerary and they see your extra names added, and you are allowed to go into the main body of the embassy. Ahead of you, there is a very tall iron wrought, almost like a jail cell bars, except in between the bars, it's like an intricate sort of like jagged carving, which makes it look far more like kind of like a garden fence almost, with this just kind of like strange geometric like fracturing pattern which seems to extend up and out of sight, and the door is kind of just like pulled aside, and you are inside the embassy. The floor is diamond tile, getting smaller and smaller the closer you become into the center of the room. The ceiling appears to carry all the way up to the tip of that tower. No visible flaws or separation from the inside. It just carries on and on and on. even though there are spiraling staircases up the side of the building with doors on the outer walls, there's nothing inside. Everything seems to be facing outwards, except there is nothing here. Nothing of substance except doorways and stairs. And all stare. I think you're the only person. Also in Cass, you're the only people who would probably have this reaction, this instinct. But as you enter into this room, this atrium, there's been a kind of like stifling pressure, which feels like your feet are being locked to the ground. This kind of like feeling of like you cannot use your teleportation magic here. There is something that is blocking you within the confines of the city walls. You've had that sort of like feeling and that knowledge since you entered the city of Brass. However, as you enter into this room, you feel a little lighter than you were before. And you kind of frown, like, wondering why. And can you both roll me Arcana checks, please? And Loran is also going to assist you, because he can do this too.
18.
Come on!
Slaya also has a teleportation spell now.
What's your spell?
The forbidden one.
What level is it?
It's the 6th level. Gosh, where is it? Where are you? Word of recall. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now that you have that, yes, you can also do an Arcana check.
Okay. 25.
25.
Oh.
Cass?
18.
18 and Slaya?
Oh, Slaya's was 25.
25. Cool.
Clap,
so
baby.
both of you, all of you actually, would probably get an understanding of that if this is an embassy to the Hells, to a certain degree there will be movement to the Hells within here. So you can imagine that there is a lax in restrictions to teleportation. Those of you who rolled 25s, you can fully understand that there are, and you can almost feel the energy from them, doorways which seem to be places leading to the Hells. And as you kind of look up to the sort of top of this tower, you see that there are just 9 concentric circles of steps with 9 doors evenly spaced as they go up the tower. From here, let me have a look. You can see. From here, you can just probably see the first doorway before they become far too out of sight. This first doorway seems to have this sort of like wave emanating from it, just like as if you could see the distortion in the air on a hot day. And from spilling over the sides of the stairwell in just every like occasional gusts are these sort of like dust winds, occasional small debris of like stone and rock, gravel, just kind of like as though they're blowing from underneath this door, this sort of just like place where the portal is bleeding through its confines and entering into this tower as residual debris from the first plane of hell, which Loran just says, oh, that's probably Avernus up there. You can see as Avernus enters in this area.
Emma, in my research
yes,
into Alarm, when I was at the library, did I find out what hell he was from? I can't remember.
Unfortunately, with a deity which is a deity or fiend, which is as old and like shrouded in mystery as Alan is, I think that you would have struggled to find anything beyond the fact that he would probably
from a sandy place.
Probably from a sandy place, that much you can infer, but also probably from probably could be found somewhere which existed in a space sort of, yeah, let's just say a sandy place, because I don't think you would have actually gotten much more than that. Okay. Somewhere sandy,
Andy.
And he's older than a lot of the common names for the hells.
That bodes well.
Oh, sorry, that's not to say that this particular door is entirely unique in its structure. It is unique as in it seems to be going to Avernus, and you see the sort of like dust bowls and like gravel, but it's more like the dust from arid earth rather than sand dunes. You get the impression that, and you know this just from the hells, that a lot of the hells are dry, fiery, and fractured sort of plains, even though there are some freezing, blistering cold ones. But
why couldn't we
it
go
could
there?
be this.
Brian wanders aloud.
Still hell. But anyway, I would
Me every summer, I'd rather be in hot, cold hell.
rather be in cold hell. Yes. So that is what you see as you go inside. And on this floor, that's not to say that this structure is entirely void of actual architecture. So there is the atrium. The higher up you go, all the doors seem to be on the outer walls. Directly ahead of you, there is a corridor with a sort of a domed arch through which you can see a spiraling kind of like structure as the building kind of curves around slightly out of sight, with doorways on either side, which does match up with the external sort of like visage of the building. And standing in that archway, you see a tall, very slender figure, so thin that their robes are kind of just hanging off points on their shoulders, where you see there is a slight point upwards, like where they're wearing a mantle over, which is in red and gold colors. It wasn't something they were wearing when they were in Calcan. You remember when they were in Calcan, they were wearing the blue ribbon, which resembled the merchants of the area. Here they are wearing a mantle which bears all the colors and designs of the city of Brass and the hells, with a very small medallion on the front, which doesn't seem to have any design which is particularly distinguishable. And they look over the group of you. They're sort of like, they're almost pupilless eyes, just kind of like focusing in on each, hovering over Susan, who is Neff, who is Ballista, which is
Susan, who is Neff, who's Ballista.
Hovering over them, and then just kind of like trying to look closely at each of you, just kind of squinting their eyes, not in a way that would suggest they can see you for who you are, but counting and seeming satisfied with that number. And they take a step forward and begin to walk towards you.
Oh dear.
Sorelleras stops.
Could you redo your camera?
Sorelleras stops. And they say, "This is not where I expected us to meet again. But I am not entirely surprised that our paths crossed. So
Bluey's gonna try and look confused at that, like,
What?
we've met before, like as if that, like, just in case there's accounts that, like.
Gosh darn it! Where are my manners? I don't recognize you at all.
Sorelleras looks at you but doesn't quite understand the expression you're making, so they just kind of look past. Look at you. So, would you like to tell me more in public, or should we go somewhere private?
Why does that sound so scandalous?
Also, what did Brian say?
Private sounds good.
Somewhere we can fully relax.
A spa.
Follow me. They turn around and begin to make their way back in towards that corridor. And you can follow them, and as you go, the sort of like the building begins to curve around, still within the confines of the structure that you saw. Large and opposing, but this much of it you can understand. It seems to be the teleportation-esque, portal-esque elements of this building are confined to those upper levels in the tower. But as you make your way forwards, Sorelaras passes a fair few chambers which seem to be completely bolted shut with that similar metal door structure. It seems to be made of that same cooling iron on closer inspection as you walk past it more frequently. Each of these seem to be fully closed. You have no idea. There is nothing to indicate what these rooms are used for. What would indicate them being occupied or empty, you do not know. However, Sorelaras stops in front of one door. If you were counting, it was probably something along the lines of the 5th or 6th door along the right. And they begin to just tap along the metal, and it begins to sort of fracture back into lines, and then it's slid aside, revealing what seems to be a very simple meeting room on the other side. A long iron table with high-backed chairs. Some, you would assume, far too small to accommodate fiends. In fact, now that you're looking at them, there is exactly too large enough to accommodate something along the lines of a dwarf and a kobold. And they all seem to be perfectly sized for each of you, with the perfect number there as well. Please, take a seat. You'll sit down?
Yeah, but Cass is not happy about it. Even though the seat is goddamn comfy. She's like, nope, I'm not going to show that this is super comfy.
They are very comfortable in spite of the fact that they are made of metal. Perfectly suited for you. Sorelaras sits down, not at the head of the table, but along one of the edges. And they say, well, this is, like I said, unexpected, but it is not, I shouldn't be surprised. Why did you come here?
Karen, could you speak?
Why is it always Karen?
Well, it's just that we don't really have a good answer, do we?
Yeah, I know. Like, Karen's just like, okay, why do you think we've come here?
You need something from me that only I can give you.
Well, you're just the most rated.
Sorry, you're cutting out. Or maybe we can you maybe adjust your mic a bit?
Let me
Open it up.
Can you, is this better?
Yeah, it is.
1, 2, 3. Okay. I can't remember what Brian said. It was something along the lines of, you were the most convenient option.
Or maybe we just really missed your company.
I doubt that you are that warmed to me, but if there is something I can do for you that only I can do for you, I will endeavour to do it.
Is Ballista still there, by the way?
Yep.
Okay.
She is seated at the table. And interesting that you mentioned that. Sorelaras says, I could tell from the moment that she walked in that the face she was wearing was not her own. And when she told me that she was representing a small group of individuals, I made a guess.
Oh, right, okay.
That was such a...
Bluey says out loud, like...
And
What do you mean? No. Please
what
go
is it
ahead.
that brings you to the house?
Work. Would it make
It's
you
a
feel
bit
better
unclear on what they do.
a bit more?
We've just got a finger in all the pies, honey.
There is I have a degree of freedom here, which allows me to conduct my work safely and across the plains, reaching into the hells without too much resistance. So it's not a wonderful work environment. I don't make a lot of friends, and my colleagues are at each other's throats, but I'm not here to make friends.
Do you have friends?
I do.
Interesting. Brian's making mental notes of all the people he doesn't like that have friends. Like, I wonder how they do it.
I have 2 friends.
Oh, who are they?
He smiles at you.
Oh, this is not very forthcoming.
I can tell you more about myself personally, if you like.
Sure, why not?
My name is Slyan'ssun. On the material plane, I use the surname Galore. It was given to me when I went to Calcon. I use they, them pronouns or he pronouns. I am quite tall.
Quite tall.
You're not really telling us much that we don't already know.
Yeah, and I wanted to know your friends' names. I thought that was what
How
was
did
speaking.
how did you get here to work in the City of Brass?
I have a certain set of skills which allow me to move freely to conduct my work.
One of those skills is being tall.
One of those skills
And being next to Sorellas.
Oh my gosh, I have a headcanon for who Sorellas looks like. Hold on, has anyone seen Tales of Earthsea by
Yes.
Ghibli?
Oh yeah.
He looks
That is
like
Oh,
Lord Cobb.
The-
Hold on. If you haven't, I'm
the-
going to get a picture up.
the person
Yeah,
voiced
send
by
it over.
Villain.
Willem Dafoe. Is it that one?
Willem.
That's pretty close.
Ah yeah.
If,
Wait, was it Willem
if they have
Dafoe?
dark skin, that's
I
really
don't know.
close, yeah.
Was it someone
I wonder if they
Cobb.
would they consider Neff a friend, because I think Neff would consider them a friend. It's just because Neff considers everybody friendly.
Oh.
Because they are like they're like business associates, kind of.
I won't say whether Neff is in that list.
Are we going to find out the list of friends? I was very intrigued.
Well,
No,
we
not.
haven't said
no.
what we're here for.
Well, then I won't believe you that you have friends. Take that.
It's okay. I don't need to. I'm not necessarily trying to prove it.
The 5-year-old conversation.
Well, fine then. I won't believe you. Well, I don't need you to believe me because it's true. I have friends.
This is why Brian and Sorellas get on so well.
That's fine if that's what you believe.
I love Sorella.
Look, I'm. If you came here to learn more than just that, I'm afraid you're going to leave it empty-handed. I was more looking to break the ice. In a way.
I just came here to tell you that I am tall.
Starts catwalking to show off his long legs. Like,
How tall is Sorellas?
See these
suddenly
legs?
Daniel
This is
appears
horrible.
out of nowhere and starts
7, 6
voguing.
foot
6 foot. Oh my
6'7".
god.
Mm-hmm.
These boots were made for
Sorellas
walking,
is tall.
and that's all you'll find out about me.
A
just-
foot taller
yeah,
than
I
Brian. It's like.
I just now have a mental picture of Sorellas catwalking with Daniel voguing in the background.
Yes.
Like, yes.
High fashion.
I'm not going to
Okay.
insult voguing by trying it. But like,
I have, count 'em, 2 friends, and I'm tall.
I would just roasting.
I'm a fan. Can I join the fan club? I'm gonna start the Cirilla fan club.
The Cirilla fan club.
Business, didn't we?
Yes. Oh my god, I'm gonna cry.
I'm gonna get a tea refill.
Okay.
We need
Sorry.
to get business.
Go back into Cass's depressed state. Be sad. Be sad. Okay.
Dead.
What do you want from me specifically?
To arrange a meeting
With
Taravine.
So it was you who caused the disruption.
No.
What disruption?
Taravine's door.
What are you talking about?
Taravine's door has been torn off its hinges all day. So
What? How does that
Have you
happen?
been in?
yes.
Wait.
Did he tear it himself?
Okay, question. The cloaked figure we saw, were they about the same height as Cirilla?
No, you specifically asked that, and
I did ask. I know. Okay,
We were getting strong Elan vibes from that.
Yeah. Okay.
you were getting strong cloaked figure vibes from that creature. So that person.
Yeah.
It wasn't cruel because it was slender, though.
No, it was not. It was not Karul, and
was not
It's
Cirilla.
cool,
you can
baby.
easily ascertain it was not Karul. It was not Cirilla based off
Okay.
of build alone. So unfortunately, nothing of the face.
Who are our other villains?
We can neither confirm nor
Elijah.
deny what has happened to
You're
Taravine.
floated.
Um,
That's okay. I wasn't expecting you to, but you did that to get his attention. That makes sense now. It worked. And actually, a show of strength is the right move for a fiend. You want an introduction? I can give this to you. I do.
It sounds like we're trying to date Tara. You got his attention. I could introduce you.
There will never be another serious discussion in this game.
also, I
Not
just
for
wanna
lack of
say,
trying.
every single time that I spell Cirilla in my notes, I have spelt it
Got it differently.
differently.
That's fun. I think that's
And
just
I
canon,
also-
though, that you can never truly write the name down. It changes as you write it, so you don't actually know the identity fully. You know, incomprehensible. So, you want an introduction? I can do this, I think. No, I know I can do this. They will respond if I ask them to. Is that all you want?
Well, I mean, then we would pursue the thing we wanted to pursue
What is that?
with
Making friends. Which you don't know a lot about.
delivering a message from a special someone in
Yes.
his life.
I understand
New
you want to
friends.
involve yourselves with terrifying. You've already gone to such great lengths to do so, and I'm sorry to hear, from the looks of it, have lost someone to that cause. So, it leads me to believe that there is something more here, something more at stake. Something which maybe you could have achieved on your own, but have decided against. I'm asking you to confide in me. I might be able to help.
If we confide in you with this, then as a show of trust, you should confide something in us.
Like your friends' names.
My friends' names are far, far removed from relevance here. There is so much more I could tell you.
I'm really curious about
Brian
these names, though.
restrains himself. I just want to know.
My intrigue
My
grows
friends'
by the
names
minute.
are as ancient
No.
as...
Okay, sorry. I was like, Cass is just being like, I don't want to know your friends' names if it's not relevant. So
But that's
Brian
what
sheds
he
a
would.
tear.
That's what they would say if they really actually were relevant, and they were trying to keep the secret from us.
But we need to actually think about what we want them to tell us before we just go. Yeah. Tell
What
us
if What if those names are
We
Karul
wanna
and
know
Neff?
what they're-
Yeah, what if it's Karul and Alan? My best
I know.
buds.
I am thinking it, but like I also do it like
I say a good one would
Let me
be
explain, because maybe I owe you that much. The friends that I have, they are in constant threat of danger, and in truth, I do not even know if they yet still live. So it is in my own interest and in theirs to keep their names from my lips, from my mind as much as I can.
Sorella is not wrong. We are going to wreak havoc on both Karul and Alan, so...
I can assure you that I believe they would not be adversaries to you or to anyone.
Are they humanoid friends, or are we talking more like, cats? Because I know they count as friends as well, but just wanted to make the distinction.
They are as human as I am.
Interesting.
great.
How human is Sorella?
The dragon theory just pops up.
Yeah.
They are as humanoid as I am.
Can I insight check Sorella when Sorella says that?
Yeah,
Sure.
same.
We could do 20 questions with Sorella S.
Going to
21.
Slia's was a 17 plus 9.
18.
They have a very practiced poker face. It's almost indiscernible, but also there's a tick of something which makes you think there's a little bit more to what he's saying, and that might be to do with their friends, but you would need to ask a lot more about that. However, you also can tell that they seem... You can also tell that they seem a little bit, like, not agitated, but just, like, confused as to why this line of question in particular has been pressed.
Because so many of us have chaotic alignments.
Yeah.
With Slia's 26, does she get anything different, or?
Nope, I'm afraid that is pretty much it for you.
Cool.
They rolled quite high on their deception, so there's a buffer left to it.
Interesting.
Deception, performance, charisma, whatever it might be.
Charisma.
Deception, not to say that they're lying, but deception is usually what I use when I'm combating insight, just so you're aware.
How can we know that if we confide in you, even if you confide something in us, that what we confide in you won't be used against us by yourself or somebody else?
I would tell you that I wouldn't. I would tell you that you know my history. I'm committed to client anonymity till death. And I was trying to extend a hand to you when I came to speak to you about Mayon and her passing. But I see that was poorly timed and slightly misjudged. Yes, there are things that I want and there are things that I need to achieve, but I do not think we're enemies. Whether we ever will be, I can't be certain. But at this current time, you do not need to count me. You do not need to count me on that list.
What if our needs and the needs of potentially a current client of yours clash?
It's no concern of mine. I'm a broker. I do not hold their morals or their goals.
Can we trade your goals for our confidence?
No. You can trade this for your confidence. I'll introduce you to terrifying free of charge. I'll introduce you to him. I will give you the next step. But if you want anything more from me, then I will need something from you. Are we done here, or...?
May we have a moment to confer before...
Yes.
Do you want to go to the restroom or something, and we'll just talk?
Like we'll drag a chair, like.
Or just put your hands over your ears and sing.
La, la, la.
If you decide to leave, you don't need to tell me. I'll know. And I won't pursue you. But also know that the moment you leave, the offer also leaves. I will be working in the meantime 1 hour. Unless you need less time.
Wait, can I just lean over to the nearest person and whisper, should we figure out what they want from us first before we go and discuss whether we're happy to give that?
Cass sends a message to Brian. They only want something from us if we decide that we want something more after the introduction to Tarabine. If we tell them what we're aiming for, they'll introduce us to Tarabine for free. If we then want them to help us further, that's when we have to give them something in trade.
Okay, but so what would we be? We should know what Slyan'ssun wants, so we know if we're willing to trade.
What if we required further help from you than just an introduction to Tarabine? What would you be wanting to trade?
If you say favours, I swear to God, no, Brian doesn't say that.
I don't know yet. I don't know. Does that dissatisfy you?
Just seems a bit
a little
orientated.
Yes. Not so much not goal orientated, but it's hard to factor in for us and our goals if we don't know what we're potentially sacrificing. We've already sacrificed a fuck ton already.
True.
I can't tell you anything about my goals. It is... No. It is too delicate.
What if we promise to be your friend and expand your friend list? 2 isn't very many, objectively.
Yeah, increase your support.
Cass is not happy about that because being friends means you tend to do more things for each other than...
What about a coffee day every couple of months? I'm sure we could swing that.
Actually, Karen has the correct idea. If you are my friend, I would ask far too much of you. And that is not something that not something I want to burden you with.
Unconditional love and emotional support.
I prefer much a business relationship where I can be certain that once the need is met, there is a parting of ways which leaves no promises.
I'll lean over to Cass and say someone hurt Slyan'ssun.
Funnily enough, you're a surprise to me. It might be because I felt the need to reach out to you. But I think I knew even then you had the ability to do things far beyond any of my other clients. I think that you are good.
Sorry, Dad was just like, do you want to go for a walk? I was like, no. Sorry.
I think that you are good. At least in intention. At least in your goals. And I believe that helping you, at least for now, is the correct path for me. I'm sorry I cannot tell you more, but I think that should give you a little more understanding.
How about this? In the hour, or potentially less, that we decide whether we want to entrust you with this, with our aims, and ask for you to set up the meeting of Taravine, you think about what you would ask of us if we were to ask for more help.
I'll think about it. Can't promise I won't come to any conclusions.
Do we need an hour?
Probably not. 20 minutes, maybe.
20.
Get a timer.
Is it an hourglass? Cass is like...
Oh, wait, I have a question.
They light a candle and pop it on the table. When that burns down.
How quickly can we go to see Taravine after we do this deal?
Oh, yeah.
They will listen to me. Within the hour.
Oh, so today.
Would you prefer tomorrow?
No.
I honestly don't think there's going to be any better time. That's a lot of power.
Slyan'ssun turns to leave and they say, you know, as much as you distrust my ability to have actual friends, I would say that you're right. It's hard to call them friends. I haven't seen them in quite some time. I'll ponder that. And they exit the room.
I think Slyan'ssun needs more friends.
He is sus, Lauren says.
He is sus. His friends are sus.
Emma,
the fact
really
that he has two is sus. But let's not focus on that and focus on the thing at hand. We don't have a lot of time.
Well, it's either sus or sad. I think we need to acknowledge the perspectives, both sides.
Yeah,
Society.
okay, sus, sad, whatever. Are we wanting to entrust him with our aims? Which is, looks to Belisa like, hey.
They were unwilling and unable to meet my own goals, so...
Why don't you go get some coffee, Belisa? We can meet you after. It's just if you know what we're about to say, then you are in danger of death and pain.
You do need
soul snatching.
You do need me to exit facility, so I will...
No, I mean just outside.
There is no coffee in the room. I can't...
When I say coffee, I mean just go outside. 5 minutes.
We could go,
I'll just go on a stroll through the hells, and he gets up and starts to walk out the room.
Bye! Sorry, Cass, I kind of killed the mood, didn't I?
The mood is dead. Anyway. Cass can't even look at Belisa right now. It's not even like she's like she like leaves and Cass is just like
What are our goals that we're going to tell? Because we have a lot of goals.
We have goals. We have goals as a party. How
contract destroying and
taking down a LAN, or that sort of thing. So we need to think about if we
Maybe
I think we only tell them as much as they need to know.
Oh, 100%.
So names, maybe? Since Slyan'ssun doesn't use names. Won't even tell friends' names.
Names cost something.
That's true.
That is true. Also, I think they made a fairly good point about my mum's calling me. Of course.
That's when we had
that time again.
That's why in my notes it says Zarina calls. says hey. That's why, because it was your mum.
Hello, I'm playing Dungeons and Dragons. Okay, goodbye. I love you. Zarina's song.
She just checks in periodically. Still alive? Just checking.
It's like when your family members open the door, my mum calls me. What was I saying?
Something
Names
deep and
cost
profound.
something.
Cost something.
Names
Yes,
cost
Lauren says
something.
yes. Also, they are dangerous, so we don't use our names. We didn't use our names the whole time we were in the city.
What if we say that we need a meeting with Taravine because we want to upset the order of things?
That is true.
Yes.
And he has a connection with people that we would wish to see fall.
Upset.
We want to ascend Taravine's career goals.
Yes. And upset the current balance.
Because we don't like the people on top. Down with the man.
Also, this isn't... Cass wouldn't... Cass is having like an internal battle right now. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, we want to find out information about contracts and how they work and
how to destroy them.
Yeah.
You know, like, can we...
Which Serenas could think is just about Cass, to be honest.
Cass is just having like an internal battle about wanting to ask, obviously, we all know, about...
Breaking contracts.
Breaking contracts with Alarm, namely, but it doesn't... Yeah.
That's good, though. Because
that's a general thing.
Yeah,
it applies to Cass, but it also applies to
Karul.
Karul.
So if we just say we were interested in breaking contracts, really there's no targeted explanation for why, but most people would assume it was Cass.
Mm-hmm. And then we also need... So interested in breaking contracts and ascending Taravine.
Yeah. Also, we should probably stop, because what if Serenas bugged the room and is hearing everything we're saying?
Well,
also, make an Arcana check. Or an Intelligence, you can choose.
Who?
Also, sorry.
Arcana or Intelligence?
Yeah.
Arcana's a lot better.
You can choose.
Intelligence would be 20. Arcana would be 25.
You can choose. So they're going to give you different information.
I'll go for Arcana, since it would be a magic thing keeping.
And you do not feel any wards of that design afflicting this room. So any seeing eyes, any arcane eyes that you felt since Slya cast a few times before, so you would recognize, you don't feel that necessarily.
I rescind my previous comments. I think Serenas is trying to earn our trust. Not that I would give it to them, ever. I've exceeded my trust quota for my entire life.
That's just like, it's not really a quota thing, but I understand where you're coming from.
It's a quota, you know, like your friend quota, your love quota, your hate quota. You fill them up as you go, right?
No,
I don't think that's how that works.
No.
Video game.
Because imagine if you met someone now who really was quite trustworthy and could really change things and turn the tide against Karul, but you refuse to trust them.
Neff, I'm sorry, you've been demoted.
And then that led to...
Yeah, then I need to demote someone.
So I think you actually might be the best amongst us to truly understand the hells. Loran says, do what you like. I mean, so long as you trust and love me the most, it's fine. And also make sure, these don't, accidentally die or anything like that from not trusting someone who you should do that. Yeah, you get it.
Well, it's not that I wouldn't trust, it's just that I wouldn't put them in my quota. But anyway, I can tell that Cass is getting annoyed with me talking about social cues. We can discuss this later at length.
Cass is getting annoyed. I think it's less annoyed and more that she's just got no capacity to think about anything apart from getting the shit done and getting out of here.
The candle's about
She's just not happy right now.
I think we've made our decision, so maybe we could enjoy some snacks in the meantime.
Or we can call him in and get this over.
Let's get this done.
Slaya looks like just completely emotionally empty. There's just nothing there.
We did
same with Cass.
So I'm a little bit hungry. Okay.
And we have the two main.
I have some corpse
points
in my bag if you want it, Brian.
I don't eat meat. It's okay.
You did eat seafood.
He's a pescatarian.
Okay.
You did not know this anyway.
Pescatarian.
He's pescatarian. I've said it several
times.
times.
Cat is just so cute.
You understand that I have to keep track of a million tiny bits of information, some of which I've forgotten along the way and then remembered to the extent that I can't really use them anymore because I forgot them so hard. So I'm so sorry.
That you didn't remember Ulster's dietary preferences.
I will never forgive myself. The campaign is ending. Actually, I couldn't do that. It's too embarrassing at the end. So who's going out to get Salaras and potentially?
I think Cass would.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But remember that human meat is vegan according to the one TikTok. Sorry.
Anyway.
I have several questions.
There's a TikTok explaining why human meat should be considered vegan. And it's like,
it was so upsetting.
It's very upsetting.
It's because humans aren't animals?
No, it's because humans can consent to being eaten.
Oh.
That's actually a really good point.
No, it's not, Thomas.
No.
That's true.
Let's not get sidetracked by cannibalism.
I'm ready to fix it. I'm ready to fix it. So, Thomas, listen.
Yes.
Humans are animals.
Yes.
That's fact one. Humans can consent to being eaten. That's fact two.
Yes.
Animals are animals.
Yes.
We are not animals. We cannot comprehend their ability to consent.
I'm not saying human meat
Therefore,
is vegan, but
they could not consent to being eaten, and they could consent to being eaten as well. We will never know. In the same way, a human could consent to being eaten, also could not consent to being eaten.
Well,
so in truth, humans and animals are completely equal. So you're either okay with veganism without cannibalism, or not okay with veganism.
Or you could without get Peru disease from eating human. I would not recommend that path, Thomas.
I personally wouldn't eat humans, I'll say, on stream.
You can get mad cow.
I'm glad you had to say that.
As a person, I could consent. Like, if I said, like, guys, if you want to eat me, go ahead. It would be kind of painful, probably.
But I don't. But that doesn't mean
you are an animal.
That doesn't mean
I'm not saying that would be vegan. I'm not saying that.
Even if you consent,
I'm not saying they would.
It's still not.
Also, I'm gonna step out of this conversation to use the toilet real quick.
Yeah,
I need.
I'm also gonna do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's. I don't think eating human meat is vegan, but I think it's a funny point. But okay, I'll put us on BRB.
Bathroom too. Oh gosh.
Boom audio. Boom video, hello. We're back.
Sorry. Apologies.
All right. Bring in the two-friend man. That person.
So, who are you sending out to get them? Because
I mean, I Cass said that
Bluey's-
she would do it, but Bluey also said
Bluey,
so.
Bluey, pop open the door. Sorelleras is not there. They seem to be waiting in the atrium. You go and pick them up.
Sorelleras.
You've decided then. Quick.
Hi. If they're
Do you have
there,
friends,
just-
Bluey?
Sorry?
Beyond your group?
Did they ask, does Bluey have friends?
Yes, can you hear me?
Okay, brutal.
Just a bit,
I'm sorry I started this, guys.
Beyond the group.
Microphone, it was all there. It was a bit quiet. Yes. And
I hope they are well.
Menacing.
Fascinating.
I think
I hope
Sorelleras
they're well.
also has that aura of just like, doesn't ever intend much menacingness, but gets it anyway.
that's what comes out. Right, okay.
Mm.
Do you have friends?
Yeah.
Well, I hope they're well for now.
Have
Do you have loved
you
ones?
checked on your friends
I hope
recently?
they're doing okay.
I hope their health is really good.
I hope they aren't dying
time
from
being.
dysentery in a prayer. I hope they aren't currently being attacked by wild boar.
Oh, that's really nice of you. I heard that too.
Incredibly specific threats. A thread. I hope they can't currently find their house keys or are late for an important appointment.
Well, these are incredibly specific non-threats.
I hope
sounds
they live happily ever after with their boyfriend, Trevor.
Sure, Finnegan is very happy with Trevor.
You should.
Okay.
All right.
Anyway,
That would be something for Bluey to be oblivious on of when she arrives back.
Entering back into the room, Sorelleras sits down again and says, well,
Can we have switched seats to be in the seats that aren't our size?
what's funny is the moment you have that idea and you stand up to go sit in your seats and swap around, the seats change shape without even
Damn
moving.
it!
It's fun
That would
magic.
be really funny. Just Bluey in the dwarf-sized chair.
yes, we will entrust why we're here for the meeting with Taravine. And then let's see if you can help further, then we'll see if we decide to make that deal or not. We're here because we want to break a contract. And we want to ascend to Taravine and upset the balance of things.
I understand.
Oh,
Yeah. If that is all you're willing to disclose currently,
It is why
I
we
can
are here.
assure you. And I can assure you, aligning yourself with me would be the correct move. However, I will not guide your hand in this. I will say, if you need anything more from me, I would want a favor from you in return. But I
Aelin,
understand
I
that
hate to do
wording
this.
is difficult.
Could you
for
mute your mic?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Sorry, Emma.
Okay,
You were
I will
competing
start
with a
at the
cat.
beginning. Blah, blah, blah. Thank you for your candor. Blah, blah, blah. That sounds pretty good, mate. I would ask a favor from you in return. However,
what's that?
exactly. I There are plenty of places which are not yet open to me. I believe some among you have contacts in a Shissel, namely a man named Corvius.
He calls me boy.
He calls me boy. It's great. My favourite thing you said ever, maybe. Without going into detail, much like you yourselves did not, my favour would revolve around requesting something of him.
I'm going to look at Loran because I feel like Loran has the best judge on Corvius and Corvius connections.
Oh, and Sarah's a two.
Loran and Sarah have both been taught by Corvius in the past to differing degrees of success.
Okay, we can look at both of them. Both to Haynes. What are they reacting?
Sarah's has this look on his face of just like good luck trying to ask Corvius for anything. And Loran has this look on his face as though he's figuring something out, like he's unlocking a puzzle in his mind.
Interesting.
Loran says, if that's what you ask of us, I suppose the group has to make a decision about that when the time is right.
Let's have the meeting first with Tarabine.
Srelar says, yes, this does not change the fact that I will let you have that meeting regardless. But when you come back to me, I might have far more to say to you. Should you trust me?
Sorella asks, you know, you'd have a lot more friends if you weren't so cryptic. I just had to say that.
Yeah, Slya does actually clear her throat intentionally.
This is coming from the best places. I didn't have any friends until I was 26. In fact, I only had one, and he was shit. So I'm giving you advice.
I don't particularly mind about the friends' comments at all. It's neither here nor there. What I'm trying to convey is that I've lived for a very, very long time.
And you only have 2 friends.
And
Solara,
Brian is
are
brutal.
your friends unreachable to you for the time being?
everyone I've known. They are the last 2.
Cass's gears are also going.
You can call it being cryptic, but I call it being cautious.
We can respect caution.
You exercised it yourself. I understand you want something from me. And you need to understand that the only reason that I'm still alive is because I'm careful with asking for things and giving them away. It's difficult. But I will extend you one last branch because you have been so kind as to tell me your goals. There are not many ways to break a contract, even fewer known to mere mortals. It is within my power to arrange it.
Can you yourself break them? And Slaya would like to insight check them on this.
Can I assist with that? Because I think that's also...
Yes, Leo, would you like to roll with advantage? And how are you assisting Allstare?
I'm just staring. Third eye as usual. So I don't know if that's an
Okay,
assistance
so you guys
or
can
me
roll
rolling my
separately.
own check.
Roll
Yeah.
separately.
Okay.
27.
Actually, mine's the exact same.
Yeah,
You haven't yet heard the end of their sentence.
Yeah.
So whether those roles will be relevant remains to be seen. However, they say there are not many ways to break a contract. It is within my power. For a favor. And from that, you get the impression that they are telling the truth as far as they know it.
May I ask, while we're still... Lisa says that you couldn't meet the requirements of what they wanted, which I believe was namely a contract breaking. How can that be?
I'm not one to disclose the information of other clients.
Which would imply that the Sisterhood is one of your clients.
I'm not one to disclose.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
But I would like to ask why you think that.
Well, it's either ballista or them. And if you can't break something, it would mean that you might have been part of the brokering of deals with the Sisterhood.
I will say that you are incorrect.
I really like this magic 8-ball thing Sorelleras has going on. It's really fun.
We'll say you're incorrect.
Ask again tomorrow.
Sorry, can you repeat that, Emma? I have you on max volume and sometimes I can't hear you.
It's far more simple. But like I said, I'm unwilling to break that.
Of course.
Matter who the contracts are with. You say that you have the power to break them. This is not necessarily anything to do with ballista. Does it matter who the contracts are between and the power of the individual?
I've already told you far, far too much. I want...
Sorry.
I want to throw away my caution. Because I think you're on the correct path. One that would right many wrongs. But I'm old. And it is hard to give me that. And if you take away nothing else, know that the brokering of contracts is something that I do engage in. However, my contracts are far more of a mercantile nature, far less fiendish. Not every single favor or contract comes from my hand. I am powerful, but the establishment of the health is older even than myself.
So if we were to make a deal for a favor, it would be a favor for you and no one else?
It would be a favor for myself. I am self-employed, even though I am able to enter places.
A freelancer.
Good.
And like I said, the favor, as far as I'm aware, would be something to do with Corvius. However, I have some ideas, but I will keep you updated as you go. And like I said, that is the kind of favor that I ask. You can imagine that any other would be a similar level of difficulty.
If we were wanting to get back in contact with you, let's say we had to depart from here with speed, how would we do it?
I'm already... No. Let me rephrase. Sorry. I am still well established in Calcon. And I believe that you know where to find me. If you struggle to, I'm only sending away. I'll accept them from you as an olive branch. I'm bending the rules. No one's but my own. I hope you can understand that.
When you set up the meeting with Taravine, where would it be held? And when?
It can be any time you prefer. And whilst I'd prefer it to be within the city where I can mediate, if you wish for it to just be the two of you, then
Cass is like, no.
Mediation sounds good.
Sorry, the two of you.
Yeah.
Sorry, he meant like
The group.
them
And,
and
Yeah.
yeah, I was gonna. Yeah, Cass is like, no. Cass doesn't even want this fucking meeting.
However, I will say that it should probably be neutral ground.
Neutral ground would be
Expect them.
preferred.
Expect him to ask you a favour as well. Or something similar. If you want something from them. Although I think you already have an idea of what he wants.
Career progression.
You are quite in tune to things. And also,
Joy.
there's a kind of calm to only having to, but maybe one day I would like more. Well, if that's his all, unless you have an idea of where and when you want this meeting to take place now.
Neutral ground would be
And as soon as possible.
preferred. Quick question. This is just me. Thomas, I've messaged you, but you haven't seen it. Did Neff have her plague mask on her when she died?
In her inventory, but not wearing it, no. So it depends on what you mean. She had it in her inventory. It's now disintegrated, but she wasn't wearing it.
Yeah. But basically, it melted with her. Is
Completely,
basically
yes.
where I'm going with that. Okay, cool. Cass would quite. Could we have the meeting in an hour? In a neutral ground.
Yes. We can hold it here. 10 in an hour.
We'll just go get coffee then.
Thank you.
Thank
Me a decaf latte,
Of course.
please, for a favour.
As soon as I find
I'm
a
joking.
coffee stand.
Okay. In that case, Cass is going to go and rebuy the plague mask.
Oh. Oh,
Well,
Cass.
to wrap this up, as Cyrillus escorts you out, they request your papers and, independent from the Leasters, sign off on a itinerary for you, which allows you to re-enter, which only takes 5 minutes or so. And they do not wave you off the door or stay too long. Instead, they head towards those spiraling staircases and begin to walk ever so slightly faster than a normal pace, up and up. But you don't see where they stop before you are ushered out and back into the streets. And next week we will pick up upon you searching for a coffee stand in the City of Brass and your meeting with Charavine, however that may go.
Monday next week?
Yes, so next week. Right, let's just double check all of our times. So, this weekend, I am going to Sendai. It's the last weekend I can before shopping, and I don't want to go any later because Corona fears around Christmas time. So, on Monday, we will do the Dungeons and the Dragons. 16th is 5:15 to 5:30 Japan time. Still okay with you? And then George.
Should be.
Yeah, and then George, you
8:15.
joining.
Yeah. Okay, we can do this off stream in a second.
Sure.
Yeah, for sure. So the next game will be next DC, the 16th. And then the one-shot continuation on Tuesday. And on Tuesday, probably 5:30 is okay. I reckon.
Okay.
Won't be too long.
Sounds good.
So 7:30
we can discuss a bit more close. Yeah, is that going to be okay for your work, Lily?
Yeah, I finish at 2.
I will also
so
check with work tomorrow if Monday next week is not a shift for me.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. Well, this is everyone, thank you very much for watching. That's it from us. Monday next week for the next DC, and Tuesday if you want to watch the other half of it. And
Sounds
that is
good.
all for today. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye all.
Bye.